Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? Another Tuesday. My favorite part of the week. Today's going to be a banger. Today is going to be an absolute banger. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun. We have a lot to look at. We have a lot to work on. We have some challenges to overcome in development today. It's going to be fantastic. If you didn't see the title, if you didn't see the description, by the way, say hi when you get here. Drop a like when you get here. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you didn't see the title and description, we are doing live builds today. A lot of people have been messaging me saying that they are about to dive into Etch. They're ready to get started. They just want some getting started content. So something to help them get some momentum going. Just show me what it looks like to build some things in Etch. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a beginner hero. We're going to do an intermediate section. We're going to do a kind of an intermediate toward the advanced side section. Some patterns, as we call them. Some of these will deal with components. Some of these will deal with component variations. It's going to be fantastic. I just got back from New York City. Spent 4 nights, 5 days in New York City for the second time. It's fantastic. First time in the Bronx. I don't know if you saw my post on social media. The Bronx is a wild place. The Bronx is a wild place. I'm just telling stories while we collect our viewers, while the algorithm goes and gets our viewership. I didn't send out any emails today. It's just going to be the OGs. But the Bronx is a wild place, guys. I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I looked online, because my wife was like, hey, I booked us a hotel in the Bronx. Because you can't look, New York City politics is outrageous. You can't, there's a law against like Airbnbs in the city. Nobody can Airbnb in the city. Hotels are outrageously priced because you can't do, when they got rid of the Airbnbs, the hotels were like, oh, good, we have no competition. And they just spiked all of their rates. And so I was like, we were taking friends with us. And I was like, all right, find us something decent in, somewhere. And she was like, well, I got us a hotel in the Bronx. And I just Googled, because I've heard about the Bronx. So I Googled and I was like, is the Bronx safe? Are we going to die? That kind of thing. And I got a lot back, I believe from AI. AI was telling me, look, the Bronx has come a long way. The Bronx has come a long way. I am here to report to you, the Bronx, if the Bronx has come a long way, I don't know where it started, okay? And that's very troubling, very troubling. It did not appear to be a place that has come a long way, okay? It is an absolute shit show. What you see in just coming out of the subway, our hotel was like literally 500 feet from the subway entrance. What you see, and we had small children with us, what you see in that 500 feet will blow your mind. Will blow your mind. It's amazing, amazing stuff. I mean, then going down into the subway, stuff you cannot even make this stuff up. In one subway wait, which is like a 5-minute wait for the next train to come. It's a 5-minute wait. What you see in that 5 minutes, there's a homeless guy. He doesn't have his shoes. So he's got a jacket tied around his feet and he's shuffling his feet through the fucking swamp filth of the subway. Like liquid, unknown liquid. He's just trampling through. So he's going this way. There's a schizophrenic guy walking the other way, yelling at the air. There is a woman, like a Spanish woman with like, how would you describe it? Like she's got a whole box full of treats that she's selling. And I saw this woman, I swear to God, same woman, like 8 stops down yesterday. Okay. And what's wild about this is I don't even see this woman until we're on the train. Okay. So we get on the train and then this guy comes on the train and he announces to the whole train. He's got this whole speech. He's like, attention, I am homeless. All I need is and he goes into this long spiel. I'm like, dog, you got a copywriting script. You should go get a job somewhere. Like, This is a good, you're doing like, apparently, you know, you've done conversion rate optimization on your fucking script right here. Because he's saying the same script that I heard yesterday, okay? Like, what? Absolutely wild. Anyway, this guy walks to the end. The lady with the goodies that she's trying to sell, with a baby on her back, by the way, that's asleep, she fucking spawns out of nowhere. She wasn't on the train with us. It's a small train. I'm seeing the people on the train. Next thing I know, this lady walks past me again, trying to say, I'm like, where did she even come from? She like, there's like a spawn point on the train. I don't understand the Bronx, okay? It's an experience that I've never had before. And I'm not sure I want to have again, honestly. So that was fun. But I'm back, I'm safe. I'm still alive, I'm still here. But it was entertaining. Okay. I thought about it. I'm like, damn, this, you know, the script is aggressive, but it's kind of good, you know? More of his tone, because it really felt like, and well, here's where I probably was like, all right, maybe I shouldn't hire him, you know? Because he was like, if I just get 10 quarters, I can get a room for the night. And I'm like, that math doesn't seem to add up. So his script had a little bit of a hole in it, okay? The 10 quarters thing. And then his tone, you know, I appreciate the aggressive nature of the marketing, but his tone was a little bit like, if you don't give me a quarter, something bad might happen. That was kind of the tone. That threw me off a little bit. So yeah, all right, let's, it was fun. Let's get into what we're doing today, because our viewers are here now. They're all here. Yeah, oh, I don't know what the liquid, the liquid, I mean, honestly, it could have been anything. Now we gave a lot of food out. I bought the candy from the lady with the goodies. Okay. If you want to know, we did a transaction. Okay. But yeah, it was fun. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. This is, I was just checking to make sure we have backups to the pattern site, because we're going to update Etch on the pattern site to a unreleased, hot off the press copy of Etch. This is what we're going to be building today. This is our beginner hero section right here. Okay. This is our intermediate section. And the reason this is intermediate is because if you look at this one, this is not going to require any components. This is literally just lay it out. Just lay it out. That's it. It's static. Just lay it out. It's good to go. This one gets us into component territory, where this, you know, what we'll call a featured testimonial is going to be a component, and it's probably going to have a variation where we can have the overlapping testimonial aspect of this on the right, or we could potentially put it on the left. So we get a little bit of an introduction to components and a variation of a component here. And then this is going to be our intermediate into advanced territory. And the reason, I mean, this is not crazy advanced. It's not like sliders and carousels and this and that and all this fancy stuff. But it is, and I love this pattern, by the way. I love this pattern where you're highlighting a key selling point while defeating the counterpoints around it, but very subtly. And that is kind of serves as the graphic for your main feature heading, right? And a little description of the feature. It's a really cool pattern. But as you can see, you need to be able to determine where your key selling point goes, so it's not always in the same position. How do we turn this into a component? How do we control the icons and the coloration and all this other stuff that's going on? I mean, there's just a lot to think through here, and a lot to kind of engineer in terms of reusable component functionality, because we're not going to be, you know, creating a static version of this. There's probably going to be some data attribute stuff going on here. You know, it has to be dynamic in terms of its props, and it needs to be usable in a loop. Like there's just stuff to think about. There's some things to work through, and these are things that beginners and intermediate see. There's more than one way to make something advanced, right? And I do also, I've heard people use the word like beginner, intermediate, pro, which I don't think is a good use of the terms. Like beginner, intermediate, advanced is fine. And then advanced, you think of it in terms of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or what, like, you get to black belt. Okay. There's a difference between like a black belt and like a world champion black belt, like a competition like a competition world champion black belt will take your average black belt and just fucking wipe the floor with them. Just use them as an absolute mop. Okay. And so there's there's so many levels to like advanced, right? Now, professional is a completely different category because a professional will do something very simple, like that a beginner can do, but they'll do it in a very different way, right? They'll take a very structured approach to it, very scalable, very maintainable, very tight, very clean. Like that's just professional work. Whether you're doing something beginner or you're doing something advanced, you can put professional in any of those categories. It's just an approach that is taken and an experience that comes into play when doing something. But things can definitely objectively be more advanced than something else. So beginner, intermediate, advanced, I think makes sense there. So this is advanced not in the way of animation and motion and sliders and carousels and JavaScript and all that, but it's advanced in just what it requires in terms of problem solving, just from how are we going to make this a component standpoint that's functional, right? Okay, and I think that just working through all of this live is really what helps people the most. That's the kind of the messaging I get over and over and over and over again is like, I just want to see, I don't, there's let me show you how to do this thing that I've practiced 20 times before I hit record, and I'm just going to go bang, 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 bang right through it like a lot of people do. And then there's this like, no, I want to see the roadblocks. I want to see the challenges. I want to see the navigation of the problems, okay? That really, really, really helps people. Because a lot of this is just learning how to think about it, learning how to debug, learning how to go down one path and then come back out and go down another path. That's all very valuable stuff. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of that today. We're going to sprinkle in Q&A. All questions need to be #Q so that I can find them easily. With that said, what I'm going to do now, because I verified that we do have backups of this site, I'm going to go to Etch Patterns. I'm going to go upgrade this to the latest aspect of Etch here, the latest version of Etch. I'm also going to show you guys some Figma stuff on the Mini GUI. There is some Mini GUI new stuff implemented. I don't know what this version is going to do right here. I just snatched it off of a random GitHub commit. So we're just going to hope this does its job. I'm still getting over the sickness a little bit, the cold that I had. It's just, last semblances of congestion going on. Let's launch Etch. Did anything blow up? Are we still here? Are we still alive? Okay, it looks like we're still alive here. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we're gonna build, I don't even know what this is called. Hero, I wish they were, you know what? I'll get the class names. Okay, Hero Quebec. Okay, Hero Section Quebec. So this is local. I don't need local anymore. This is good here. All right, let's go into the content hub. Let's go into layouts. Here's all of our layouts right here. I'm gonna go Hero Quebec. Hero Quebec. Let's create that layout. And let's go into Hero Quebec. I'm gonna add a section. Let me see. Working in Etch right now, so why not join in? Absolutely. Welcome to the stream, Nick. Just make sure we're all good to go. I always like to, give me some LFGs in the chat. If we're ready to get to work, give me some LFGs. If we want to keep bantering, we can keep bantering, but throw some LFGs in the chat if you're ready to get to work. And I'm just gonna peruse this chat real quick. Do as Jason says here. Make sure you're dropping the likes. All right. Are we good? Are audio good? Video good? Okay. Got some LFGs. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right. Hero section Quebec. Now, we're also probably going to see the benefits of working on a project that already has some critical components engineered, right? So for example, I am wondering currently if my section intro component is already going to just do this job automatically right off the bat, okay? So we're just going to find that out. We're just going to find that out. And I can do that right now by just going in. By the way, this is a placeholder UI. So whenever I pull up this components area, there's a UI coming for it. And if you're wondering, like, why didn't you spend the time to make this section really cute, you know? And I get it. I mean, we all like really cute UI panels, okay? But the reason we have really, really cool shit that does stuff that no other interface and builder does is because we didn't waste any time on making areas like this cute yet. It will be cute at some point. Trust me, it will be cute. Actually, there's a Figma already for what it's supposed to look like eventually. But you know, there's bigger fish to fry. This is icing on the cake. This is what I consider icing. Does this give you access to your components so you can insert them easily? Yeah. I mean, there you go. The job is done. Okay. So it doesn't need to be cute quite yet. It'll be lovely when it's cute, but it doesn't need to be cute quite yet. Okay. Hero section. This is going to be inner. So the reason I was wondering if this would get the job done is because it has variations already programmed into it. So for example, I can say, I don't want to show the primary CTA and I don't want to show the secondary CTA. And I don't, okay, so there is left. See, I can center it. I can do left. The only thing it doesn't have is, I don't think, the ability to not have the pill. Okay, so, but I don't think the pill matters all that much to this thing. And we could always add one that says, you know, don't show the pill. The problem is when you don't show the pill, because if we look at this, let's just save and go view this on the front end. The problem is when you don't show the pill, you're going to have to use a dynamic element to control, because that's the actual heading of the thing. So if we don't show that, we're going to have to swap to this being the actual heading. And, you know, it is what it is. It's just one extra logic step. Not something I'm going to worry about right at this point in time. All right, this is going to be called the inner. I'm going to look at this and say, all right, I want a figure. Okay, so we're just going to add a div. We're going to turn it into a figure and an image. Okay, and then I want another block over here that's like a CTA wrapper. Okay, or I just call it the CTA. Really, just call it the CTA. It's a very basic thing. I'm not going to make its own block or component or anything like that. It really just belongs to this specific section right here. Could you use it somewhere else? Yeah, you could, but it doesn't, you know, we don't need to force that hand. We just need to kind of build what we see, make it nice and static. It could always be turned into a basic component later. In fact, I might have a CTA card. Maybe I even have a CTA card already. Let's do this figure first, okay? So we're gonna call this the featured image wrapper. And then I'm gonna put an image inside here. This is gonna be called our featured image, okay? The wrapper is not just a div, it is a figure. So we'll change it to be a figure element. All right, so that's done. That right there is done. Well, except for we can have a fig caption. So I'm just gonna add text. We're gonna call this the I'll call this the featured image caption. And we can actually make this a fig caption, okay? All right, so we have a caption that's semantic and we're gonna be able to position that. Basically, what that is this right here, okay? We're gonna be able to position that on top of the image when we get to the styling portion of this. Let's see if I have a basic CTA card. Let's just look through here. All right, CTA pattern card, header, featured, sprite. Nope, okay, and I don't really need to build one. So we're just gonna do a static one. Inside of the inner, I'm gonna add this, okay, CTA. I'll just call it CTA. I'm not even gonna call it a card. Just call it a CTA. And inside of that, we're going to need a heading. We're going to need text, and we're going to need a link, okay? And again, this is all gonna be nice and static. So we'll go heading, text, and link. All right, so our heading will be CTA or call to action. We'll come down here and we'll say that this is gonna be lorem 10. Maybe lorem 20. Maybe lorem 20. How much text do we really want? We'll make this one lorem 10. Okay, and then this is going to be the primary action. Okay, good. So if you're not following along, what we're doing, and by the way, Page Building 101 Era 4, a lot of people are asking about it. When am I starting it? When is it coming out? January. It's going to start first thing in January. It is going to be very different from the first Page Building 101 in two ways. First way is it's going to be very granular, very short lessons, okay? So they're indexed, they're very easy to find. Hey, you can hone in on one thing, learn that one thing, catch up on that one thing, whatever you want to do. It's not going to be 45-minute videos where it covers bang, 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 all grouped together. And then you're like, what video was that in? And what part of the video was it in? And okay, I'm going to go hyper granular. So there's going to be a lot of videos, right? But they're all going to be clearly titled. Here's exactly what it covers. It might be 5 minutes. It might be 12 minutes. It might be whatever, but it's going to be more bite-sized. That's the first big change. The second big change is that it's going to all be compartmentalized in a 5-step system that I've already covered in a previous video. But I'm going to take that 5-step process of building something, which you're seeing right here, okay? Part of this right here. It's the process I always use, okay? We're doing the structure, right? We're doing the semantics. Then we're going to get on to the styling, okay? And so this is a 5-step workflow, and the entire Page Building 101 Era 4 course is going to be broken into those sections. Each section is a step in the process, is a step in the workflow. And you just repeat that over and over again. You got a hero section, do the process. You got a feature section, do the process. You got a component, do the process. You got a template, do the process. That's it, okay? So it's gonna be the two big changes, just for those people who've been asking and who are interested, okay? All right. All right, paragraph, actually we can call this description. And then this one can also be a description. All right, they're gonna share the exact same class because they're the same element, they are for the same purpose. Okay, so hero section Quebec, I've basically got all of the things that I need. So I'm gonna just right click, create BEM classes. And we're gonna do some talking about the mini GUI today, some improvements to the mini GUI that are already shipped, some improvements to the mini GUI that are coming. Also, this is, I say mini GUI, that's the code name for it. The real name is like the CSS quick actions, I don't know. I don't think we've officially named it yet. But this thing is getting so tremendously powerful, like as you're gonna see as we start to build through this. Okay, so the first thing I wanna do is I wanna decide, how do we wanna display this row right here? Well, I also have to keep in mind, I'm building patterns. So when you're building patterns, I can't rely on auto flex, auto spacing, things like that, because somebody using the pattern might not have that. Like all the CSS that the pattern needs to work has to be explicitly there. I can't rely on people having auto things happening, okay? And any variables that I might use, like from automatic CSS, need to have fallback values because I can't rely on people having, this is a framework agnostic pattern. So there's a little bit of an additional layer of stuff that we have to do just to make it work for people using ACSS or not using a framework, and just to make sure that things that are normally there automatically, like display flex direction column, have to be there explicitly, okay? So some of the stuff that I'm doing, like if I take this section right here, this hero section Quebec, and I click this, that's gonna give me display flex direction column. That was already there implicitly, like automatically by Etch. But again, I want this to be explicitly there so that it will always be usable even outside of Etch potentially without breaking, okay? So flex direction column, and then I need to use my gap. So notice that what we've done, here's the first big change to the mini GUI, okay? This is gonna give me a default of content gap with a fallback of 1 rem, okay? So when I do this, when I do content gap, you're gonna see it gives me content gap between the things. This is a contextual utility that we came up with in Automatic CSS. Automatic CSS was the first framework to really introduce the concept of contextual tokens, okay? Content gap, container gap, grid gap, versus just spacing, random spacing values, right? Space M, space L, space whatever, okay? Now, you're thinking, well, Kevin, when I click that, I want a different value, or I use a different token, or what? Well, the great thing about the mini GUI is that it's customizable. And we're gonna show you in a minute. But it also, it doesn't just give you one value as an option. So I'm gonna right click here and you're gonna see that I actually have 3 options that I have put in there. Content gap, grid gap, container gap. And this is a gap between containers in a section. So what I actually want is container gap. So I'm gonna click that again, you'll see that it removes it, but watch what happens. If I just know that I need container gap straight away, I can just start with a right click and then go, yeah, I'll take the container gap, please. And now it's gonna give me the container gap with a fallback, okay? Which is fantastic. Now, what if I wanna change to content gap? Do I have to remove it? And no. I just right click again, I hit content gap, it replaces it, okay? So it's very fluid in how this works. And it gives you your options, and there's a little heart, and you can say, oh, I want container gap to be the default. Okay, now it's the default. All right, it's as simple as that, okay? It's very nice, very easy, very simple. So there's my container gap right there. Now, I get down to our inner. How do I want my inner to be laid out? Well, I think I want to use a grid. So I can click grid, and I now have columns, I have rows, I have grid template areas I could potentially use. I have grid auto rows, I have all my alignment controls still, okay? And so what I'm gonna do is, for this particular one, it's none of the presets. Now I can get a grid template columns, like if I click that, that's what I'm gonna get, right? Grid template columns, repeat 2, that's gonna give me 2 columns, okay? But I can just replace this now, or I can even take this min max 01 FR, and I could do here, and I could say 3 or 2, not 12, 2, and I can get just out of the gate a ratio, right? Again, this is not a preset. I could make it a preset. Okay? Let's look at all of my preset options here. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. By the way, this is all very temporary. I'm gonna show you Figma UI in just a second. This is all like absolute work in process, hot off the press, okay? These are eventually gonna be just labels. We're gonna have the option to show the value, like what's gonna be output, or just a label. Like I could just make this say 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns, 6 columns. You don't even see all of this, okay? You just see a nice, clean, simple little label. That's gonna be an option as well. But as you can see, I can choose any of these and it will pop those in kind of as like a, a preset. But I decided to do this to get a 2 and 1 layout. But what I'm actually gonna do is I'm actually going to apply that only at a specific breakpoint. What is that breakpoint? Well, I would say if I use my dynamic canvas here, okay, I'm just gonna take a wild guess and say that, okay, right here, that's where we need to insert a media query. So I'm gonna say add media query, and I'm gonna say greater or equal than this value. And notice it put in 1000. Why did it put in 1000? Because that's where we are with our dynamic canvas. We're previewing 1000 pixels, okay? So it knew, hey, you wanna insert that media query here for that purpose. And then once I'm inside this media query, all of my things become available to me again. Now, there are a lot of challenges that nobody's done this before. Nobody has ever done that. What you're looking at, this doesn't exist anywhere in the world. So there's nobody we can learn from. There are a lot of challenges. I can't tell you how many conversations, how many UI iterations, how much problem solving, how much iterative, like, got to do this instead because we ran into this. Okay, there's a lot to solve. I'm going to show you one of them, right? There needs to be logic to where the parent is display grid, or this, we'll call this the main style set, is display grid. I should still see the grid controls without having to click grid again. to duplicate this. Now, I don't even actually have to display grid in there because it's already flex column, right? But display grid in here, now I get my grid options. Okay, I copied it to my thing. But now we see that this display grid template columns is happening on the media query. But I go out of here, I can make this actually, something else, right? Display flex column. Another challenge is, where is it inserting? If this already has something, let me do like I'm just gonna put something random in there. And I do flex column, it inserts it correctly in the right place. But notice what just happened when there was no main styles in the block, it put them last, which actually is a problem in terms of the cascade, in terms of the order that I'm giving instructions in, okay? This is yet another, and this is why, by the way, that we can't just do things based on theory. Immediately when we deploy something, one of the reasons I'm doing this stream today is I'm putting the mini GUI through its paces in real building of things, because real building shows you, okay, there's a definite issue here. Here's a limitation. Here's a roadblock. Got to find a way around this, right? A lot of tools, the reason they suck so bad is they just do a lot of things in theory, and they're never really building anything for real with their tool. You got to just build with it. If you haven't built with it, you don't know what it really can do or can't do, right? So just highlighting a bunch of stuff as we go along. Okay, so what I've done here, you can see this is automatically responsive now, because I said, hey, if the screen's greater than 1,000, let's go ahead and make it this grid template columns. And if it's not, it's just gonna stack, because that's what it does by default, okay? Now, what else do we wanna do on the inner? What we probably wanna do is we probably wanna have a gap. I can put the gap in there, okay? What kind of gap did I get? A content gap. Hey, that makes sense. What if I wanted to change it to a grid gap? I could definitely change it to a grid gap. Now, in my install, content gap and grid gap are the same value. But you should still use things contextually. Now, is this really a grid? I'm using grid as a technique, but it's not really a grid. It's just a standard layout. Content width or content gap makes the most sense here. So I'm gonna leave this as content gap. And then we'll check this. Notice we don't have any gap on the way down. So I actually wanna just move that rule, and you can actually just take things and nudge them around. I wanna move that rule into the main style block so that it applies everywhere. So I have the gap there, I have the gap there now, all is well in the world. Now I'm gonna go to the CTA and I'll move a little bit quicker. So I can say display flex column, I can hit the gap, which immediately gives me a gap on all of that stuff. And then I can come back here and yeah, see, here's another problem because I don't have display grid on here, okay? There you go, display grid, I'll just add it. I have a duplicate now. I can delete the duplicate. These are things that we're looking through and trying to find. I wanted my alignment controls so that I can have my align center. See how that works? I can just align things to the center. There it is gone. There it is added. Okay, we're getting to where we want to be. What else do we want to do here? All of that is pretty good. What I want to do with this featured image wrapper. Remember, this is the figure with the fig caption. I want to position this relative because I think what I'm going to do is position this caption absolute. And I'm going to see if the quick actions bar, the mini GUI, can it handle something like this? Well, the first thing I want to do is position this relative. Oh, look, position relative of the position icon is the default value, okay? So one click gets me position relative. Could I do sticky or absolute? Well, yeah, I can right click and I see absolute, fixed, or sticky, okay? But I know I want this to be relative. And once I make that relative, I can take the caption. Let's get a real image in here, by the way. Can we get a real image to look at? This is the placeholder image we use for all of our patterns, okay? That is nice and good. Let's do inline size 100%, max inline size 100%. That's all fine and dandy. Okay, I'm gonna take this featured image caption right here. I'm gonna find the position icon. There it is, right click, absolute position. Once I absolute position, look at this, I get insets. I'm gonna block end and inline start. And then I want them to be offset. So instead of zeros, I'm just gonna type in 1M, and that's gonna get that right in the perfect position that I'm looking at right there. And you could say, oh, that looks more like 2M. Okay, I mean, fantastic. Let's go, instead of 1M, we can Command D multi-cursor select, and we can change both of those values at the exact same time to 2M, okay? Oh, so you want me to move my head to the right. I mean, no, the rights might block some CSS. I don't know. What are we blocking? HTML? I'll make myself a little smaller today. Do we need to be, maybe top left is good. Is top left okay? Am I covering anything? Because I don't use a sidebar. Maybe top left. Can I live up here? Is this good? Let me know in the chat if top left is good. Okay. Good. So, by the way, if you're ever previewing like a canvas size and you just want to get back to desktop, you can double click it. It'll just go back to full. Okay. All right. I think top left will be good. If I do something over here, you know, you guys get it. That's opening a media, okay? Opening templates. What we might get into is like if we go into the loop manager at some point, covering up part of that panel. I don't know. Okay, anyway, we're working toward where we want to go. Now I want to border radius on this featured image. So I'm just going to go click the radius button. And what do I get? Do I get some random value? No, I get my global radius for my website, okay? With a fallback, because that's what I programmed, okay? If I wanted a border on there, I would get a border. I do need, inside of our featured image wrapper, I need an overlay for this image, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just, I find a good way to do this for random use, okay? We're gonna call this overlay, and I'm gonna go hero section, Quebec, featured image overlay. All right, and I'll say featured image overlay. It's just to use a div because anybody coming along later, they can easily see, oh, there's the overlay. Okay, I can change the values. All of that is, there's different ways to do overlays. You can use pseudo elements. You can use border image. There's a lot of ways to do it. But this explicitly, when I create patterns, seems to be the easiest for people to identify and comprehend. And it makes it easier for them to change it and manipulate it. So what we're going to do is we are going to position this overlay as absolute, and we're going to inset all sides as 0, and then we're going to give a background color, and we're going to do a var of, let's just do red, just see, did I get a red box? Okay, I got a red box. That seems to be overlaying things. It's actually overlaying the caption as well. So what I'm going to do is go to the caption. Well, I got two different ways to do this. I could z-index and this is z-index right here. I could z-index -1, but that's gonna put it all the way in the back. I don't think I wanna do that, okay? What I'd probably rather do is just take the caption and z-index that to a positive number like 2, and that will be on top of my overlay. My overlay is naturally on top of my image. Now I just needed to elevate the caption to be on top of the overlay, and I did that with z-index, which looks like a little layer icon in the quick actions bar. Okay, and so now what I'm gonna do is, I've got everything in position. I just need to go to my overlay, and I need to make this a transparency, which I can do with a little color mix recipe, okay? And so you see there, I have a transparent overlay, and I can control with this value right here, you know, how much that does that. Now, I actually need a linear gradient, okay? So I'm gonna say background. This isn't part of quick actions yet. You know, we're working our way there. We're gonna go to top, and I'm gonna say that's one of the colors. And then the other color is transparent. And now I'm gonna get a gradient overlay effect. And I can go like, you know, however much I want on there. And then I can go to my caption. Let's go to my fig caption right here, and let's hit the color, and let's say var, and I don't have my colors programmed in here yet, but I'm gonna show you Figma in just a second, what we're about to do with the color situation. You're gonna absolutely love it. But I mean, look at, like, I'm just kind of clicking my way now. I'm just kind of clicking my way to where I wanna be. I did let's look on the front end. Let's just see where we're at so far on the front end. This looks really good. I've got a situation, I think, with the overlay. Okay, the borders need to be on the figure itself, and then I need to hide the overflow. So that's one of the things that's going on. So I'm gonna go the featured image. I'm just gonna click the border radius again because that's gonna remove the radius, right? I don't need to find it and I can just remove it, all right? And then I can go to the featured image wrapper, which is the figure, and I'm gonna put the border radius on this. And then unfortunately, overflow is not in the quick actions bar yet. It will be very soon, but I'm just gonna put overflow of clip, and then I go back to the front, and now I can see that I have good border radius everywhere that I need it. Okay, I also wanna do some aspect ratio on this image. So I'm gonna go to the image itself, and I have a new aspect ratio control right here. I also have object fit, which looks like a little crop tool. Anytime you're gonna aspect ratio an image, you're gonna wanna object fit cover it. That is the default of that button, but you do have contain and fill as well. And then I'm gonna right click here and I can choose an aspect ratio, and I'm just gonna choose 16:9, which also happens to be my preferred default on this site. So if I just left click, I will get 16:9 out of the gate, but I can right click and choose any other predetermined aspect ratio. And of course, like I said, you're gonna be able to put your own aspect ratios in, whatever you wanna do. You want only 3 options there, you can only have 3 options there. You're gonna be able to do all of that yourself. You control the mini GUI. That's one of the best parts about it. You control what it outputs, which is gonna be, you're just gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it. So I'm just clicking around now, all right? And we're basically getting to where we wanna be with this caption. So this is my caption, okay? Fantastic. I got an intro. I think, it looks to me like we're pretty much done, okay? We don't have much else to do here. It's all nice and responsive. I wanna check, Gutenberg, if you're not aware, has a problem with absolutely positioned elements. I have absolutely positioned a few elements, and I wanna just go check on our Gutenberg situation and see how it's looking. Because there is a override for it. I'm just gonna see if we need it, okay? So I've saved that. We'll go back to Gutenberg. Let me look at the chat as okay, it's survived, okay? So it looks great. It looks great in Gutenberg. So we have automatically block authored our thing. There's hero section Quebec. All of the things are there as you would expect them to be. And it is fantastic. You can edit the caption, you can edit here, you can edit here, you can edit here. This is a component, so its props are exposed in the sidebar to the user to be able to do all the things here, including the conditional logic and the variations. What I need to do is I need to come down to iframe height, okay? So what we're gonna do is measure this real quick. How much real estate does Hero Quebec need? 933. We're just gonna do 900, okay? Get it close. And then I am going to, let's save that. I also wanna go in here and say that this is a hero section. This is a pattern. Okay, we can save those. I'm gonna go get the JSON for this pattern. So we're gonna right click, we're gonna copy that. We'll go back into the editor and I'm gonna paste that in the JSON box. And this is now a pattern that you can go and get. We've just made it, okay? Let's go to layouts. Let's choose the hero category. There it is right there, Hero Quebec. Look at that. Look at us go. Look at us go. Yeah, isolate would not fix it because all isolate does is it creates a new stacking context, and we still needed order within the stacking context we already had. So it wasn't gonna fix it. I could have fixed it by putting the overlay before the, in the DOM before the caption, but there's multiple ways to do this. They just pick a lane and go. If both are essentially inconsequential, the reason is what if the user changed the DOM order on accident and then their caption suddenly was not shown? The way I did it forces it. It forces it to render a certain way. So that's why I went that route. But yeah, I mean, we just created a nice pattern there. Just created a nice little pattern there. Okay, so let's do pattern number 2. We're gonna go close that one. This is gonna be pattern number 2. This is gonna take us into a little bit of component creation territory, okay? So let's go back into Etch. Let's go to the Content Hub. Let's go to Layouts. What is this one even called? Testimonial section Foxtrot. All right. Somebody asked us, how do we come up with the names? Testimonial section Foxtrot. There's two ways. One is the UN alphabet, and the other is city names, just random city names. It doesn't really mean anything, and it doesn't have to. Create layout. Okay, testimonial section Foxtrot, open in Builder. Here we go. Testimonial section Foxtrot. What are we gonna do first? Well, we're gonna do the structure of the thing first. This is an intro, okay, with no lead, no CTAs. It's got these things, and I already know that these things are a component in the system. So this should be fairly easy. Just for clarity purposes, I'm gonna remove that container. We're gonna insert the section intro. I am going to make sure that it is centered. I do not wanna show the lead. I do not wanna show either of the CTAs. I just want that, okay? And I'm actually gonna wrap this. I can't wrap in a container yet. I wish I could. I'm just gonna create a container and drag it in there. And this is gonna be the intro wrapper. And the reason I'm doing the intro wrapper is because we need more than just the intro component. We need more than just the section intro. We're going to need a div. This is going to be the badge wrapper, or you could call it badge group, whatever you wanna do. And then I'm gonna insert one of those badges. And it's gonna be called I think it's a rating badge. There it is, right there, a rating badge. And I can actually just duplicate it, okay? So we're gonna have a badge wrapper. That's gonna be for our badge components, okay? So that's good, that structure is done. I'm gonna go back and look and see, okay, now we need the featured testimonial card. Featured testimonial. And this clearly is not content width. This does not look like it's content width. This looks like it's some random, yeah, it's just got a random width value on it. But I can use the container for it because maybe they do want it to be content width. It is a featured testimonial after all. So I'm just gonna use a container. We're gonna call this feature, and this is actually gonna be a standalone BIM block component. So a little bit different from what we did in the first hero section where we just wanted everything to belong to that hero. This is gonna be its own atomic block situation, okay? So I'm gonna say featured testimonial Foxtrot. Why Foxtrot? Because I haven't created a featured testimonial yet. I could name it Alpha, but I call it Foxtrot because it's named after the initial section I built it in, okay? No rhyme or reason, it just makes sense. It's just the easiest way to do things, okay? Then I'm not working on an alpha inside of a Foxtrot and then having to keep track of I don't know. I don't care. Just make them name the same. It's always been fine, okay? Nothing breaks. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, featured testimonial Foxtrot, let's look at the structure of this thing. So we know we're gonna need an image, which is also gonna be in a figure, and then we need a content wrapper, okay? It's probably the best way to do that. So we will throw in an image and let's say a flex div. This we'll call content wrapper. We're gonna take our image, right click, wrap in div because that div is gonna become a figure. Okay, and then this is going to be our image wrapper. And then that's going to be our image. That all makes perfect sense. Inside of our content wrapper, what do we need? We need our text, and we need a name, and we need a title. Text, name, and title. And these two things probably would be wise to group together since they seem to belong together. It wouldn't make sense to put a title up here somewhere. These two things just naturally inherently live together. There's a Page Building 101 episode dedicated to grouping associated content. Okay, we're gonna follow those principles. We're gonna create inside of our content wrapper a text element and then a div with these two things in it, okay? So inside of our content, we're gonna do our text and then we're gonna do we can do a flex div, we can do a div, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then we're gonna call this meta, and then we're gonna put in text and text. So we're gonna call this name, and we're gonna call this title, okay? Both of those can be paragraphs, that's just fine. Meta. How about this? Maybe I'll make it clear, just say name wrapper, okay? Name wrapper. I've got my quote, which I also, by the way, could just make a block quote, you know? If you want to do like structure, semantics, see what really matters in terms of the semantics as you go along. All right, I think I'm liking kind of where we're at with this featured testimonial Foxtrot. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna right click, create BEM classes. I'm also going to right click and create component. I'm not gonna do anything with the component yet, but I'm gonna save and exit. By making that a component, it will be ignored when I do the auto BEM. So the auto BEM literally will ignore the section intro, the rating badges, the feature testimonial. I can just right click here, create BEM classes. It's only gonna affect the things that are not components. It's gonna save me a little bit of time. You switched to building another section after you added the rating badges. You switched to building another section after you added the rating badges. So I don't, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Fubart, clarify. I don't know what that means. Okay. If item is position, you can overlay without adding Z index, just add it on top of another position element. Yes, I know. I explained that. But what I also explained is if the DOM order ever accidentally changes by someone clicking around in there, it's going to change the layers. And we don't want a situation where that overlay is ever on top of the caption. So the Z index method forces it to, now the DOM order doesn't matter, right? It forces the thing that needs to be on top to be on top. So it's an unbreakable situation. We're trying to create unbreakable situations whenever possible. What is, you build the third one? The ratings don't belong in this frame. Oh, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. You're correct. Oh, I switched. This is the one that needs it. Okay, good, perfect. I understand now, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, let's get rid of that preview. Okay, no problems, easy to do. All right, so this badge wrapper, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that class because we don't need it. Bang, we're back in action. Look, easy as that. We do need to show the lead now though, according to this one. Okay, so that's just a little toggle switch. And then I'm gonna go column here. I'm gonna get our container gap going. Perfect, okay. Down here, featured testimonial Foxtrot. Let's go ahead, edit this component and see what we wanna do. So the first thing is, obviously these things need to be in a grid, right? Need to be in a grid. I think I wanna do the card first. Let's do the content wrapper. Let's go ahead and add some padding. So I'm just gonna add my padding here. Now, this I'm gonna say is, oh, you're right, I can't, well, I could, because I have fallbacks. So I'm gonna do card padding. Do I have the card framework turned on? I don't, but I can, you know, all right. Maybe I don't wanna do that. Because if this was not framework agnostic, I would 1000% use the card framework for this, but it's framework agnostic, so we gotta be a little bit more generic. I really need to think through that because the people using the card framework are gonna want the card framework. I'll just turn that on. Okay, because you know, when I want the card framework to be used. I want the card framework to be used. Okay, so let's do flex direction column here. Let's go to our gap and I need to add card gap as one of my options. Okay, I can't add options right now, but I'm gonna show. Let's jump to the Figma because you're gonna love this. You're gonna absolutely, and I know everybody loves sneak peeks. Everybody loves sneak peeks. Okay, this is not where I need to be. I need to be in Tommy's sandbox. I'm gonna go to the mini GUI. Okay, check these. Let's check out what's about to happen. Okay, let's start here. Let's start in the empty state. Right? What if something doesn't have a value, right? You get this cute little modal. It says, hey, you have no values yet. Create one to get started. Now, I don't think anything's really gonna not have a value. This is like in case something doesn't have a value, or in case somebody deletes the only value that's there, perhaps, because we are gonna let you delete everything in certain cases, okay? Let's move over here and see kind of a UI for adding a new value, okay? Where you give it a label, here's the property, here's the value, okay? Like you're adding space M, and there you go. Let's keep going, space M, padding 1 rem, whatever the value needs to be, and now you've added, and this is what I meant by Look how you can decide to have labels instead of showing the actual value output, which makes things for a lot of use cases, not all of them, but a lot of use cases a lot cleaner, a lot shorter to look at, okay? Conserves space, that's great. Let's go over here. We don't need to worry. There's a little debate internally right now about, do we actually need resolve values? One of the main points of tokens is that I really don't care what the resolve value is. This definitely will not be in the first series of iterations of the mini GUI. Very possible it could come at some point in the distant future. It's an icing on the cake thing. It's not required. It's a definite, like, maybe nice to have in some cases, right? I don't know. Let's keep going through here. We'll see some different, this is all step-by-step kind of in the UI. You see the stars are moving over to the left-hand side. This should make alignment of things. Uh-oh, look at this. What do we have here? You got a long list of potential values. Well, why don't we just let you search through them? All right, you could just type in, search for a very specific value in cases where it's needed, like right here, perhaps, okay? So you're starting to see, and then this is going to be a scrollable, right? Because it can't get bigger than the CSS box, so it would scroll here. Let's keep going. Oh, we have colors with swatches. Okay, very nice, very nice. And you see they're labeled, okay? This is in the primary category. You have the ability with this little box up here to multi-select and bulk delete, perhaps, okay? Lot of good improvements coming. Edit versus delete on individual rows when you hover. Let's go back. Okay, those are the context menus. I want to show you one of the unique ways we're thinking about a situation like, if I go here, okay, let's zoom in. I have margin, I have padding. What if I want padding inline start, padding block start, padding inline end, padding, you get it, right? Same thing with margin. There needs to be like a way to handle multi-values of these things. I don't know which screen this is in, so let me just go through this quickly here. See if we can find. So here's an example. So here's inline and here's block. And what this would do is essentially, if I wanted to see the granular versions of these, I would just hold command while I hover, and this will transform into the row of those options. And then I can click on the one that I actually want. So instead of them being there all the time in your way, in your face, because very often you don't need them. You don't need the granular like this side or that side. I want them there when I do need them. I can hold command and hover and boom, there they appear, okay? By a simple keyboard shortcut. That's something we're working on right now. Let's see. Let's see. What are they talking about here? Show me the resolved value. I'm not convinced. Because again, I don't care. The reason I'm using tokens is, obviously scalability, maintainability, but I also don't have to care what the resolve value is. I don't care. I don't need to know. I don't need to care. You just don't need it. Okay, let's see. Compared to showing resolve value on the right. You don't need to click to copy. That's the thing. With the minute, you don't need to click to copy. He was saying, why don't you add a click to copy? I don't need to copy it because when I click it, it inserts it, right? So there's no copying and pasting going on. So I don't see a real need to copy. Okay, let's see. No, because this is it's too much prerequisite stuff. How important is the card framework actually? It's insanely valuable. But it requires an entire video analysis of here's what you would do without the card framework. Here's what you do with the card framework. Let me show you different variations of cards. Let me show you the same. It gives you almost component-like functionality in CSS, right? Where naturally, if you had shared styles across many different BIM blocks, you would have to repeat those styles over and over again. The card framework eliminates the duplication of code, eliminates that repetition, keeps everything globally controllable across different BIM selectors, which has never been a thing in CSS before. It's tremendously valuable. It's tremendously valuable. It also gives you global control over your cards versus if I use content gap in this card, any change to content gap would affect all instances of content gap. The card framework creates a brand new context that gives you tremendous control that is confined to that specific context. It's very, very, very valuable, very valuable. But again, it requires a demonstration for people that haven't really seen it before. It's not, very advanced users probably would instantly recognize it as a very, very important thing, but other people may not. All right, I'm just gonna take that content gap and calc it. I'm gonna go back to building things. This actually would be like maybe by 5. And I actually want to line height these. And so we do have line height, bang, and bang, right there in the quick GUI, the quick actions, the mini GUI. I'm just gonna call it different things. Okay, so what was I getting at? Card gap, and then padding, I was gonna do card padding, right? So that is an example of, I'm manually using the card framework. I'm not gonna auto target it because you can't auto target it with the card framework, but anybody that does have the card framework can't do that. I've gotta do it manually because it's gotta be able to work outside of ACSS, as I explained before. All right, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna bold it. Ooh, look at that, all done in the mini GUI. Okay, so insert, this is person's name. All right, and then this is title goes here or whatever, okay? And then I can take the title, I can go font size, change that to S, and Shazam, it's smaller. Now the annoying thing is you have to do the fallbacks manually, right? This is not a step you actually have to do when you're using Etch. This is only me because I'm building these patterns to be framework agnostic. I gotta manually do these stupid fallbacks, but neither here nor there. This can actually be 4, 3, 4. Let's just dial that in. Perfect. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to display this as a grid. Let's get a real image in there. Boom, boom. Great size. We'll go with large. Okay. But I want it to be 100% width. So I'm just going to pop that line on there and be 100% width. Okay. Fantastic. I do, while I'm here, let's look at this. I want to do the border radius. But is this a situation where I have to put the radius on the figure and then hide the overflow? I don't think so. I think here I can just hit the radius and be done with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the feature testimonial. We'll go display grid. And I'm just curious, do I want to do I want this layout on mobile for sure. See, this is what this needs to look like on mobile. And this does need a background color, right? So I'm gonna do background color and we're gonna do, I use all neutrals, okay? So neutral, ultra light, and then a fallback of something like DDD, just to give me, and I'm gonna put a border radius on here as well. Okay, so that's gonna give me some visual structure to this card where it's got a background color, it's got a border radius. It's looking like I'm gonna need the content gap. Sorry, let's go back. I need to be on the featured image, this whole thing right here. We'll do the content gap on there. I do want it to be explicitly display grid. That's good. Okay, so that all looks good. I'm deciding whether I just want to use template columns for this or if I want to try to go grid areas for this. And I think grid template columns is going to be the easiest way to do it, but I'm going to need like a lot of them. And I don't know how many I need. I'm going to go with 8 because I need to do ratios. Let's do 12. So I can just change the 8 to a 12. I'm going to go down here. Now we don't have any sub-children mini GUI, like the child sees that the parent is grid. So I'm going to give you some specific grid controls on the child. Wait, that's still to come. You see, there's so many challenges that have to be engineered. Something like this, where I would be able to like span an amount or something like that, and do that with the mini GUI as an example. I'm gonna start on, oh, this is gonna be a challenge. This is gonna be a challenge to engineer from a variations perspective. Because I am gonna decide, what if I do a max, what if I do a max width on this? So what if I did a max inline size of 30 characters? What does that do without any grid column instructions? Grid column, what if I just did 1/-1? Now that I have, see, now that I have a max width on it, I really only need to choose. Oh, I see. Okay, that's gonna be even more interesting to do it that way. Okay. How many characters do I want this thing to be? Let's decide that first. Let's get some lorem text in here so this actually looks like a quote. Okay, that's much better. What is our, yeah, I mean, that's getting close. Okay. I don't think I want to do a max width on this. Maybe I do, but I can still use 7, 8, 9. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to. I'm trying to figure out what the best way. Let's do grid row 1. And this is what I mentioned when we're coming in and really, working to figure stuff out, right? People like to see this part of it. If I put them both on the first row, they are forced to be next to each other, and so they're not gonna ever stack, and then I can force them to overlap, right? Grid column, what if I started on 1 and I went to like 7, okay? That one is explicitly positioned. What if I do align items to the center, starting to get things going here. Now, I never remember, there are flex alignments that work on grid, but then there are 2 properties that are grid specific. And I think it's justify items. Because normally you do justify content on flex layouts, but I think it's justify items. Look at us go. Look at us go. All right, so clearly what we need here. See, this is where I was getting into like, do I really want to do that? 1 to -1 with an inline size of 100%. The max inline size is, can we do a percentage? Okay, that's gonna, ooh, can I justify self? Oh my God, this is so fantastic. Okay, because I'm thinking ahead to switching this layout and like, what's gonna be the easiest way to just flip this layout? And I'm also thinking about controlling the amount of the overlap potentially. 85. That's looking pretty good. Okay. All right. I'm wondering if I should do we figure mobile out before we figure out how to flip it, or do we figure out how to flip it and then deal with it on mobile? Like that's the concern right now. That's the question right now. Okay, how easy would this be to flip? Let's go that route first. Let's add a select prop. And let's say alignment. Let's say left or right. Right is going to be the default. Left is going to be the other option here. I'm going to go to the featured testimonial Foxtrot parent. I am going to go data alignment equals. I'm going to say props dot alignment, and I'm going to add that data attribute. And so what that's going to do right off the bat, let's just go see where we're at with this. Oh, that's not what we're previewing. Let's go preview this on the front end. Okay, that's what we've got so far. And if we look at this, we can inspect and we can go to data alignment right. See that? Data alignment right. Okay. essentially the default. We're not going to stick all the stuff that we've done inside of data alignment right. It's just data alignment right. That's just the default. So I can say if data alignment is left, what are we going to do differently? Okay. And so what I actually want to do for right now is I want to change the order of those so that I'm previewing the left now. I'm previewing the left now. Okay. So what we want to do is we don't want to change grid template columns. We don't want to change our gap. We don't want to change our display. We don't want to change our alignment. We do want to change the justification. So I'm going to say when data alignment equals left I, pop quiz, anybody know what the I does? Justify item start, okay? Great, because that's going to shift that, okay? Pop quiz for those who are fast fingers in the chat. Oh, faces and yeah, I mean, the face is always going to be in the way somewhere. That's why I felt like the bottom left. Yeah, you can't see a little of the HTML, but you don't really need to see the HTML for most of what we're doing. You don't need to see the HTML. Okay. All right. Nobody's answered the I. What does the I do? Pop quiz. This is open. 1,000 points are at stake right here. 1,000 points. Oh, Andrea got it first. 1,000 points to Andrea. It makes it case insensitive. Okay. You learn a lot from these streams. I don't know any other stream where we actually learn these things. Okay, so we've done the data alignment left. Now we need to go over to our image wrapper because we did some things here that probably need to change when the data alignment is left, but not when the image wrapper has data alignment left, right? Right? So let's think about this for a second. You know that has me selector? It just comes in so handy. When the parent has data alignment left, we can do something. We don't want to make it a container, okay? We want to, when it has data alignment left, when my parent has data alignment left, I do something. I justify self to end. Does that work? Data alignment left, let's think about this for a second. Has me data alignment left, I justify self end. I feel like that should work. Why is it not working? Let's go to the front end. Let's debug. Okay, let's right click, inspect. Let's go to this figure, justify self start. That gives me, nope, no, that's correct. Justify self end, justify self. Exit, left, save. Just make sure. Why am I seeing justify self start? I'm seeing all the normal instructions. Why am I not seeing my new instruction? Has me. I think the has me. That would just tell me, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Featured image wrapper has me. Has me. Data alignment. Justify self end. Okay, let's go examine this again. I'm probably just doing something dumb. Image wrapper featured. That's, okay, now that was from something else. Has me, featured has me. That should select the parent, featured section testimonial, and throw the data attribute on it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. What I'm a moron. I'm a moron. Sorry. It should be something. Justify in. It should be something like, because I'm selecting the parent. I got to reselect the child. What an idiot. What an idiot. What an idiot. Okay. Okay. Now I can say, right, first left. I think we're done with that part. Okay, so exit. Now I can just say, hey, this is going to be left or right. Pretty slick. Pretty slick. Look at that. It just changes. Okay. Now, what else do we want to program in here? Well, we need the obvious things. We need the obvious things like the quote, like the person's name, like the title, okay? So we're gonna say quote, we're gonna say name, we're gonna say title, we're gonna hit the bullseye, we're gonna go bang, we're gonna hit this one, bang, hit this one, bang. Now those are mapped. Fantastic. We need to set a background color. Now, here's where you, as the engineer of the component, would say, do I want to provide background color options for this little card thing that's in here? Or do I want to just allow people to write any values, okay? It's up to you. This is going to be kind of an open component. The other thing I would say is maybe we don't let them select. Maybe they just edit the component and edit it inside the component to the way they want it to look. And then you roll with it because you want it to look the same everywhere. Maybe that's a thing. And the beauty of these components is that when I hand them off to somebody, if they decide, you know what, this needs a couple extra control points, they can just add them. They can just add them. It's an editable component on their install, just like it is on this install, okay? So I think I'm gonna just leave the styling of this to the person to edit inside the component. I wonder if I can choose the overlap amount. You know what would be, because I'm trying to figure out how to make this unbreakable. I'm gonna show you what I'm thinking about in my mind, okay? And by the way, you can engineer these as much as you want. Like if you're just good to go with it, just leave it alone. Like some of the things I do, you do not have to do. But you think about a couple extra layers deep and you go, okay, that seems like it might be a situation at some point. Maybe I'll put in a little protection for that situation. You don't have to do these things necessarily, but it's a demonstration of how you might want to think about these things. If I gave a control point for the image width, what would that look like? It would probably be dealing with this max inline size value because that's what's really controlling this image. If I gave them a control point and they did this, we have lost the entire effect. We've lost the overlap. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna have to use math. We're gonna have to make this an unbreakable situation somehow. Is it even possible to make this not breakable by bev? I'm always trying to bev proof a component when possible. That's what we're really doing here, okay? Everybody knows their bev, right? Bev will break it. If it can be broken, bev will break it, all right? Bev is the Bronx, essentially is what I'm saying. Like, if it can be broken, it will be broken, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. What if I knew the content width? What if, that seems like a good starting point. Quote width, 35 characters. And I come down here and I replace this with quote width. I now have a control point for the quote width, okay? I'm also gonna go image width. Let's just do 85%. Let's come over here and to the image wrapper and replace this. Let's give ourselves a control point for the image width. But what if the image width, I'm just thinking maybe there's a smarter way to do this. We take a calc of 100% minus the quote width. That gives us a perfect alignment. And we add, was it adding? I'm dumb, so I gotta just check real quick. Is it adding? I went to public school. I gotta check. I can't just guess. We add back an overlap amount, and if our overlap amount is just something like 2M. Am I dumb? Did I do some? Oh, you got to spell the things right. Overlap amount, okay? You could even drop in here spacing tokens. They may not actually be enough. I mean, this definitely works. It's like, what do you want the value to be? But I feel like now if we only expose the overlap amount, they can't break it. They can't break it. And we would have like, what's our minimum? What's our minimum, right? Maybe I put these in quotes. Maybe, did I do that right? Plus, yeah, I gotta have that. And I gotta have that plus 5M. Wait, hold on. I gotta think about this. I'm thinking if the overlap amount is 0, because that's okay. 0 plus 5M. There's something wrong here. There's a public school issue going on in this calc somewhere, I'm sure. Because the logic in my brain seems to make sense. Like, if it was 0, right? Oh, that's where it's broken. Can you not 0 plus 5M in CSS? Oh, that's dumb. Look at this that's so dumb. Okay, because it would mean 5M is the minimum, right? But when they choose an amount, so if we take this, it's going to add the two together, so it doesn't really act as a minimum. 5. Oh, but we could maybe use a max function. Could we? Could we use a max function of 5M and the overlap amount? And if the overlap amount is less than 5M, look at this. Can it go below? It can't go below. Look at this. It cannot go below the minimum. Now, don't bring up the fact that they can break it going the other way though. Like they can make it full. I know that would, yeah, she could do something like that. I mean, that's not atrocious, but it is technically a breakage. I'm going to put an aspect ratio on this, by the way, and an object fit of cover. Maybe 16 by 11 instead of 9. It's a little bit better. Okay, what are we saying in the chat? Essentially saying HCS, when are we ever okay. Oh, okay. Maybe I was over engineering it. I tend to do that. So is this a smarter way to do it? 100% minus the quote width divided by 2, and the divisor would be the overlap amount. I don't know though. I don't know. Is that a good way to do it? Somebody tell me in the chat if that's a better way to do it. Say yes, no, or maybe. Yes, no, or maybe. Because I gotta undo what I just did, and that might be a little rabbit hole to go down. I don't want always a 50% overlap. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to allow the user to control the overlap amount, which may just be a dumb idea in the first place. Like, but I mean, overlap amounts, 5M. Okay, let's go back. Is 5M a good minimum value? That was 5. I think 4, okay, 5, I would have to change this. 4, 3, 2, and then I have to change this to 2. So that's not, that looks really awkward, right? 3, 4, 5. To me, like 5 is you gotta be at least 5. You gotta be at least 5. All right. I'll try it. Calc 100% minus var quote width divided by 2. This is what you're saying. And then I could just change this. But if they put in a 1, they can still break it. Does that matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to say overlap amount goes here. This is just an integer. We don't need the max function. Maybe this is the way we want to go. Maybe this is the way we want to go. Or maybe maybe it's clearer if I multiply by a decimal. Does that make it clearer? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. This is what they would be able to do. But does the decimal make it or the whole number? You guys vote. Say decimal or whole. Decimal or whole. Oh, he says give a few options. Give a few options. Let's do that. Let's give a few options. We could do it. Okay. I like where this is going. Let's go the whole number route. Let's go the whole number route with a divisible. Let's make 2 the initial. So that's cut in half. That's perfect. Okay. And let's give only some options. Overlap ratio. 1/2. 1/3. I'm a moron, so these are probably not going to be. I think it's right. I don't know how to do anything other than that though. So good luck there. All right, overlap amount. We take this out. We drop the 2 in as a fallback. And then we go to featured testimonial image. Okay, we can do it. It's the math is done here on testimonial Foxtrot. So this is where we're going to add the inline style. We're going to say that the overlap amount is props dot overlap ratio. Okay. And my OCD is not going to let that slide. We got to change this to overlap ratio. And we got to change this to overlap ratio as well. Okay. Let's go see if this is broken. So overlap. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Look at that. Can we go less than 1/2? I don't even know what that would be. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. If you do decimal calc and they enter a big ass number like 33, would that break? Yeah, I'm sure it would. I think this is better. This is a little more confined to what they're allowed to do. I'm going to move that overlap ratio up. So I'm going to take this and just put it right under the alignment. So they choose the alignment, they choose the ratio, they put their quote, their name, their title. They move on with their life. That's what they do next. They move on with their life. What do we want to do when this is on small screens? I would say I'm gonna convert these to container queries. So I'm gonna drop in a has me, and I'm gonna bump that to the top just because I like that. I prefer for that to be at the top. And then quote width, okay, data alignment left. We haven't done any mobile responsive stuff yet. So I'm gonna bring this down here and say like probably right there. That's about as much as you can squish this bad boy before it's just looking bad. It's looking like the Bronx. If you go any narrower than that, you're in Bronx territory. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's just go right there maybe. Let's go add a container query. And we're gonna say less than or equal to. What exactly do we want to do here? We want to go grid template. We still want to stick with the, actually we could just flex it now. That's gonna get rid of all of our grid shit. I could say every direct child, let's go inline size 100. Dude, I mean, does it get any easier than this? Does it get any fucking easier than this? I don't know. How would it get any easier? Do I wanna maybe reset the, ooh, hold on. Featured testimonial foxtrot, image wrapper. I just want the amp image wrapper to be 100%. We're gonna stick with an overlap, friends. We're gonna stick with our overlap. Okay. Let's go gap of 0. Ooh, I like where this is going. Okay. I'm gonna steal this container query. I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna drop that in on this content wrapper so that, now these are gonna be tokenized very soon. And to all the people that said, why would you need to tokenize your container? This is why. Hopefully you see why. I don't like these static instances of this container query floating around, okay? We're gonna go margin block start, calc, var, overlap amount. Isn't that what we called it? Overlap amount times -1. Maybe we didn't call it that. Maybe I gotta go back. Overlap, overlap ratio. And I need the fallback too. Okay, so let's go back to the content wrapper. Let's just throw this in. Nope, okay. I didn't remember what I copied to the clipboard. Let's go overlap ratio. 2 times -1, margin block start. Let's just make sure, margin block start. Okay, that should work. Calc 1 times 5 times -1. What am I doing wrong right here? Oh, you have to, I'm sorry. That's dumb. That's really dumb. Okay, this guy's got no unit. Kevin, it does help to have a unit. It does help to have a unit. And that's probably the problem with my previous calc, my previous attempt, because the overlap ratio does not have a unit. There's no unit. You can't append. I wish you could. You can't append units to variables. I wish you could. Oh, but you know what I can do? You can put the unit on the negative. Unbelievable. Okay. The problem is now that this ratio is working differently than it was before. Because before we were, this dividing thing that we were doing, this fraction, it's a fraction, does not seem to work here. But I can perhaps fix it. But, well, okay, hold on. We really need I need a sip of water. If we really, really want to do this the right way. Oh, that's a rabbit hole. I'm just calculating in my head. And I'm like, God, that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. I don't know that we want to do that. Can it just be good enough? Is it just good enough at any point? This is a magic number, okay? I mean, I don't like the magic numbers. I don't like magic numbers. Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Wait a minute here. Oh, that's not going to do it. But you can move it by 50% of its size. Margin block start. But you have to translate it back. What if we just force it to be halfway? We're just gonna, you don't get to control the overlap on mobile, Bev. We're just gonna make sure that it's halfway. That's all we're gonna do, Bev. Margin block start minus 50%, translate 50%. There's something wrong here. What would be the best way to do this? What would be the best way to do this? What would be the best way to do this? Margin blocks. Let's not do any of that. Or we're all in a wrapper here. Did I ever put this position relative? I didn't, so I'm gonna do it now. And then down here, I'm gonna put this as, I think it also has to be position, yeah. Inset block in, no, that's, I don't think that's gonna do it. I don't think that's gonna do it. I don't think that's gonna do it. Inset block start minus 50%. Inset block, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I just want to make sure I'm below the threshold that we need to be seeing here as well. I don't want to translate it because then it's not going to flow in the content properly. I think the margin inline start's the best way to go. Not inline, sorry, block. We could, I don't know why this isn't translate 0, 50%. I don't know why that's not going 50% of its thing. We actually can't do that because this is all going to take this out of the flow of content. We cannot translate it back. Is there some stupid math where this, okay, even minus 25% doesn't work. All right, I'm just gonna pick a number. And I don't know what the math is because I'm dumb. So we're just gonna do that. And that should always just at least work. And it still, we have layering, we still have overlapping, we still have our image still being shown properly. No, you don't have a control point for how much that happens on mobile, but sometimes Bev just needs to stop yapping, doesn't she? Just Bev, we're tired of hearing it, Bev, okay? I get it. We're tired of hearing it. Just stop yapping. It needs to not allow to be a max with 100%. So let's go back and make one more adjustment to this. And then we're gonna call this done and we're gonna get to it on our other, our third pattern here. Okay. What did I want to change? Oh, the max inline size. So we'll just do, I hit the wrong icon for sure. Let's go inline size, max inline size, 90%. Ooh, I'm resetting it, aren't I? Let's go max inline size 90%, but the inline size is the quote width. Look at us go. Look at us go. See, it's never allowed to reach the edge. It's always got to have a little bit of space. Little bit of space, okay? How much? 80, 85. That feels good. That feels decent. I don't like this magic number sitting here. I just don't. You know? I just don't. But I'm going to let you guys, if you have a good solution for me, phone it in after we're done. Phone it in. I'm burned out on this pattern right here. Okay? All right. We got the ability to go left. We could change the overlap ratio regardless of the side that we happen to be on. We can go back to the right. We can fill out our quote, name, title, all that's good to go. And then it's mobile responsive. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Let's delete these. Get us back to our defaults. Save it. Right click it. Copy it. Let's measure it. How much space do we need? Okay, let's get out of here. Let's get this. Boom. 1200. That's a big frame, isn't it? That's a big one. We're just going to go 900. We'll let it scroll a little bit. That's no problem. So I'll go back. Look at that. There it is in the Gutenbergs. Put the JSON in. 900 iframe height. Let's put this in the testimonials. It is a pattern. Save. I would then do the components separately, but we're not going to waste time on that. Let's try it on an actual mobile device. You don't really have to because it's responsive for all mobile devices. The margin mass should just be negative height of testimonial card divided by, yeah, but we don't have the height of the testimonial card. That's the problem. And you can't get the height of the testimonial card without JavaScript because the height is dependent on the amount of content in the card. So you have to be able to do it without knowing the height. We don't want to involve JavaScript in that scenario. It just feels a little bit overkill. What's the complicated one going to be? Well, we're moving on to that right now. But I said it's not complicated in terms of like motion and animation and JavaScript. It's just complicated, and that was it's a lot. It's more of what you just saw there, just with extra challenges, right? Okay, so let's add a new layout. We're gonna call this. Let's get rid of this. Close. Okay. This is feature section Yankee. Feature section Yankee. Let's get rid of that. Feature section Yankee. This is features. It's a pattern. Save as draft. Edit and etch. Make a section. Feature section Yankee. Okay. I like to do this pattern, next pattern, because you see the process over again. You see it's always the same starting point, the same first step, the same second step, the same third step, and you just keep working your way to the end. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a intro component. So our section intro goes in, but I'm going to wrap that, okay? We're going to wrap that in a div called intro wrapper, okay? Don't mind the fact that it's actually, I do want that to be a section, a container. So I'm just going to add a container and I'm going to drop it in there. We'll just call this section wrapper. And then I want to add a div for the badge wrapper. I was doing this before when we were making the wrong frame. And then I'm going to add the badge in here. And it's going to be the rating badge alpha. I need 2 of them. So badge wrapper is good. That's the structure there. Section intro there. That's all good. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to see what we need. This needs to be the feature grid. The feature grid. Okay. This is going to be the feature. List. I have changed from calling things like this grids to lists. One is it is semantically a list. We're going to make it a list semantically in just a second. And 2 is when it's on mobile, it doesn't look like a grid anymore. It's just things on top of things. It's just a list, right? And if I use container queries and I put it in a sidebar and it doesn't look like a grid anymore. So we don't need to call them grids. It's just a list of things. That's what it is. I just I change my naming convention from grid to list. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put a card in there. And this is going to be an actual new BEM block, okay? Feature card. And I'm going to call this Yankee. Like I said, instead of thinking about how to name it, I'm just going to steal the name from the section, okay? Feature card Yankee. And inside of feature card Yankee, I just need a wrapper for all that shit going on there and a wrapper for all this shit going on here, okay? So I need 2 wrappers. So go flex div. This is going to be called the talking points wrapper or talking points list, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be a semantic list, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I'll just call it a wrapper so there's no confusion. This is going to be the content wrapper, okay? Content wrapper is going to have heading and text in it. We're going to make that an H3. We'll change this to a dynamic heading in just a minute so that the tag is changeable by the user. That we don't have to worry about that yet, okay? This is going to be a description. Okay, so we got a heading, we got a description inside of the content wrapper. Talking points wrapper, how do we want to handle this? Do we actually want this to be, we don't want it to be a semantic list, okay? So we're free to just put a flex div in here. This is gonna be like a row. We'll just call this a row, okay? So talking points row. A lot of people ask me when you're BIMing things, how do you handle the naming when you start nesting? I've explained this multiple times. You just keep repeating the words over again. So you have a talking points wrapper, you need a talking points row. Don't just come in here and put row, okay? You need a talking points row. And then I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna say talking points text. So again, it's not just text because we don't know where it lives. What does it go with? It goes with the talking points. So it's talking points text. That's what it is. The icon is going to be fake, okay? So just keep that in mind. We don't need an icon slot because the icon is going to be fake. It's gonna be a pseudo element, okay, and I'll kind of explain why in just a minute. Okay, I'm thinking semantically how we want to go about this. Talking points text. Let's just get a couple of them. Well, I'll do that in a minute. Talking points wrapper. I think all that is good. Feature card Yankee. I'm going to make this an article. I'm now doing more semantics. Make this an article. I want the semantic list. I'm going to right click and say convert to list, and it's going to handle that for me. So the UL, LI, and inside of that I have my article. I want to right click this and create component now because I don't want it to be part of my overall BIM structure. I want it to stay its own thing, feature card Yankee. And now inside of feature card Yankee, I can right click and I can create my BIM classes for all the stuff that's going on in here. I will now exit my component structure and I can come up here and I can right click and I can create BIM classes for my whole section. And the card is gonna be left alone, okay? It's not part of all of that. But I have a list item, I have a list, I have a section wrapper. The section intro is left alone because it's already its own component. Feature section Yankee, that's fantastic. I can start doing things. I can put my gap on here. I want my container gap, okay? So get space between these things. I'm gonna come into my section wrapper, display that as a column. We're going to, we just need our content gap on this, okay? That's perfect. I don't need any CTAs, so let's get rid of our CTAs. Oh, I do need the lead. I don't want either of the CTAs. I want to align that to the center. I want to align all of this to the center as well. And then inside of my badge wrapper, I want to row that and I want to content gap that. I mean. Okay, we want to duplicate our list items. We want to display this as, okay. I'm seeing that now, all right? Because this is contextual, this is a list and our grid controls are not currently showing up on, that's okay, I can fix this. Kevin has the power. Let's see. Dimension. Where do we want to be? It's layout. It's not dimension, it's layout. CSS, flex, row, flex column, grid. Yes, container block, location, external, condition. That I don't want. We're gonna need a different set of conditions for those controls. Flex, okay. Those should all still be fine. Those should all still be fine. Okay. All right, that'll be fixed in the next update, friends. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to do it a little bit manually. Display grid. Actually, I still have recipes. I still have recipes. There's grid 3. Okay, there we go. And I want to do that in a media query. And I wanted to say, hey, greater or equal to probably, I don't have the cards yet. So I'm just gonna grab a random value. Let's say 900. Boom. Okay, so they're gonna stack there, go there. That's perfect. Let's do our grid gap. Okay. That's perfect there. Okay. Here we need display. Oh, I can say flex column. There we go. I can combine what I'm doing here. Content gap. So when we're down there, it's going to still have a gap. That's fantastic. Okay. Nice. Let's stop there and check on the chat. Should KG live streams come with an intermission? Let's try it on actual. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're good. All right. Feature card Yankee. I'm gonna get into this now. So talking points wrapper, we have multiple rows. We need, how many rows do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows. Okay. So we do have our 5 rows. This is going to be, ooh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, so negative talking point. I'm just putting these in as placeholders for myself. Negative talking point. Positive talking point. Negative talking point, negative talking point. Okay? All right. Now, I told you, this is, look, I'm just going to warn you right now. This is going to be a situation. There's going to be a bit of a situation happening here. And we've just got to work our way through it. That's our only option here. Okay, we absolutely do not want just the content gap there. We want to calc that, maybe divide it by like 5. We also want to come in here on the talking points text and do our line height to 1. Okay, that's going to help with our spacing a little bit. So we don't need a divided by 3. Let's do it divided by 2. Content gap. This is a card. Let's do a card gap. Divided by 1.5. Actually, how much does that need to be? I don't know. We'll change it later. If we need to change it later, we'll change it later. We're going to make this display flex. We're going to put a card gap on there. We're going to also make this content wrapper display flex. We'll put a card gap on there as well. Okay, actually, I don't want the card gap on the main card. I want content gap there. Because I want these to be further away. I don't want it all evenly spaced. Out. I do want padding of card padding. That's fantastic. Because what does this card actually look? Ooh, actually, it doesn't, it's not a, I don't think it's a padded card. No, I don't think it's a padded card. I don't think it has any padding. I think the list has padding. So let's get out of here for a second. We need to go with a background color of var neutral ultra light. And that's gonna have a fallback of DDD, something nasty, okay? And then that means our list here is gonna have some padding. And that's gonna be more like an L situation. And that is also gonna have a background color, which because it's a list, I can't do. So that, we're gonna need to fix the logic on that as well. Okay, this is gonna be white with a fallback of FFF. Good. Let's put a radius on there. It's looking good. Okay. What we're gonna do now is hop back into our card. I'm gonna handle this situation up here a little bit. So the talking points text, we're gonna go font size down to S, because those need to be smaller for sure. We're gonna opacity them to 0.5 by clicking that little icon right there. The positive talking point. Positive talking point. Okay. I'm thinking about the logic on this. And this probably needs to be done at the row level. Talking points row. Data row type equals positive. Data row type equals positive, which allows me to come in here and say, if the data row type equals positive, we could theoretically go, where did I put I don't want the opacity on the text. I want it on the row. Let's move that in. Okay. So, yeah. And it's, okay. This 0.5, this 1. Okay. All right. We're getting there. If the row is positive, I want it to have some padding. How much padding? Not nearly that much. In fact, this doesn't even need to be, there we go. 0.25 em maybe? With a background of success, which, I gotta probably turn on. Palette, success. Okay. Ooh, I wonder if success is, oh, there we go. Yeah, it's snapped into action. Okay. Let's put a border radius on there, but that border radius needs to be, does it need to be on, no, it doesn't need to be on everything. No. Oh, but the padding does. So let's just bump that up into its parent. I love nudging. I love the nudge that we now have access to. 0.5 em, so we can change the sides. Maybe this goes 7, 5, oh, no, 5, 7, 5. If I'm gonna do all that with padding, I need to go gap of 0. I think that's starting to get where we want. We need success ultra light, and we need success dark on the text. Okay, so on the talking points row, when it's positive, let's add a background color. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I already did the background of success ultra light. That's much better. Maybe just light. Probably just light, right? Probably just light. What if I pop a border on there? Holy smokes. Solid. Success dark. Is that right? Border. Oh, I already have a border defined, so I can't change. That's only the fallback. That is only the fallback. My border is already a transparency, so it's already picking up the color of the row. That's fantastic. 4.4, 0.45. I just want to dial this in here. 0.65. That looks pretty decent. I don't have the icons in there yet. I don't know what the icons are going to look like. We're going to go talking points wrapper. Watch this magic. Fade block. Look at the magic. Look at the magic. Okay. Feature heading. Lorem 20. This is coming to life before our very eyes, my friends. Okay. How do you nudge? Someone said. How do you nudge? How does one nudge? Whatever row the cursor's on, if you hold Option and just hit up or down on the keyboard, it will nudge, and it will nudge into other blocks and out of blocks. Okay. Dude, this fade, these fades come in so handy. It's just tremendous. I love them. I use them all the time. I use them all the time. Okay. We're still not anywhere where we need to be. We have no props. We have no ability to move the row on a case-by-case basis. See, this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the order property. Do I even have the order property on this? Because it's a list item. I probably don't. I've seen, oh, you know, I don't even think I've added the order property yet. Okay, but if I did like order -1, that would put it at the top. But how am I going to order it anywhere else? Because any positive number will put it at the end. Ooh, and I should say it should only be allowed to be 2, like 2, 3, or 4. It can't be at the bottom or the top because it'll be part of the fade at that point, right? We don't want it to be part of the fade. So I already know I'm gonna have a select where I say order talking point position 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to order all of them. I'm gonna have to order, I think. Do I need to leave gaps between them in the ordering? Sorry, some of these things, now some of you watch this and you're like, I can barely keep up. But there are gonna be parts of it, like, this is one of those parts I just feel like, where I'm not really that smart, okay? And I tell you this because I wanna give you the confidence to be like, I can do this too. It's really what if I can do it, trust me, you can do it, okay? I'm thinking about this, and you may have already come to the conclusion of exactly how to order these. I feel like I just have to I just have to guess because, you know, when it comes to mathematical patterns, that's really, yeah, I'm smart in a lot of areas. Let's just say in mathematical patterns and equations, I could be smarter. Like I could use a couple more points, you know, in the IQ department. Okay, so let's go. I think I'm gonna do this from the wrapper itself. So I'm just gonna select all direct children. Actually, I'm gonna say inth child 1, okay? You need all the brackets. It helps to have all the brackets. Order 10. Dupe, 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 dupe. Inth child 2. Inth child 3. Inth child 4. Inth child 5. 10. 20. 30. 40. 50. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I know I'm dumb, and this may not work. This may not work at all. But this is my process. This is how I have to figure it out. Okay, so if it's positive, the order would be like, and I would important this. Yeah, okay, 10 is the first one. So 15 would put it in the second spot. 25 would put it in the third spot. And 25, 35, 45. Why didn't 35 work? Did I do? Oh, okay. Hold on. Yeah, I don't. It really doesn't matter all that much because this is all going to be abstracted behind these numbers right here. I just need to know what the ultimate values are. So we're going to say 35. We're going to say 25. Or no, doesn't this need to be 45? 45. You know, ignore it. There's something going on in there, but you can just ignore it. You don't have to point it out, okay? I already know. I already know it's dumb. But it's going to work. That's all that matters. It's going to work, and you don't have to know how it is working. And if you want to fix it, you can make it your own component, guys. That's the beauty of this. You can take it, you can paste it into your install, And you can go, Kevin's a dumbass, so I'm just gonna fix that part of it, and then it'll be fixed for you. That's the beauty of this. It's the beauty of this. Okay? Talking point position. 50, 40, 40, 40, 40. Okay, so yeah, 40 should be the default. 40 should be the default. Put it in the middle by default, Kevin. Put it in the middle by default. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to our, so where is talking point position is here. It can get it from anywhere. So I'm gonna put it here. Like if we put talking point position here, and we did 25, we can control it from here, okay? Which means I can add the inline style here. Talking point position, position is props dot talking point position. 2, 15. What does it output? It outputs the second thing, right? Okay, that should work. I'm previewing. Okay, hold on. There may be something we have to work out here. Style talking point position is props dot talking point position, and this should be getting talking point position. Seems like that should work. Seems like we should be working. I don't know why we're not. Let's debug. There's a couple things to look at here. Oh, I know why. I know why. I broke the syntax. It's just a slight little syntax problem right there. Okay, now we're working. You gotta have a space between your colons here, my friends. Okay? I mean, look at this. Look at us go. Look at us go. So now I can go 2 on that one, 3 on that one, 4 on that one. Staggered, nice and staggered. Never at the front, never at the back. Nice and staggered. I don't know, it worked. Was it dumb? Maybe, I don't know. It seems to work. Why are you hating? Don't hate. Okay. This gap needs to be divided by 2. Calc var content gap divided by 2. There we go. Okay. Yeah, tightens that up a little bit. That space in the select prop gets me all the time. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Put them in any order you want. All right. Talking point text. Talking point. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Because if I map this, well, I guess this one would always be this one right here. Which one is that? What I need to do, I can already see, is label it positive. Okay. So here's the positive talking point. So this needs to be, it already is props.talking point text. Okay, I already got the good one. What I need to do now is on all of these that are not positive, let's close all these. So I need to say role equals none. Okay, and aria hidden equals true. So I need that on that, not on the positive one. Okay. We're going to pretend in accessibility land, we're going to pretend that the negatives don't even exist. In accessibility land, they don't even exist. They only exist visually for sighted users. The positive talking point still exists, okay? Because you get in a situation where a screen reader will read out all of these and they won't realize, it'll be like, why are they telling me negative things, right? Because they don't have the visual cues to see that, oh, one of them is positive and the rest are negative. There is none of that in accessibility land. So the negatives, you just gotta don't hide those. Just hide those out in accessibility land. Okay. Okay. I like where we're at. I like where we're at. What else did we need to do? We moved that. Let's make sure we can edit the talking point text. Okay. Oh, we need the negatives. Oh, geez. Okay. So positive talking point text. So this is going to be my awesome talking point. See that? My awesome talking point. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. Let's go to edit component, and we're going to go negative 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Negative 0.1. Oh, I cannot paste. That is not safe. Not safe. Okay, let's delete that. Negative 0.1. Okay. Negative 0.2. Negative 0.3. Negative 0.4. This is loopable. Okay, you'll be able to put this into a loop and work it out. It'll all be good to go. So you could fill these in from custom fields in a loop. There's a lot of ways to use this. Okay, negative 0.1. Let's collapse all of these. There's the talking points wrapper. Collapse all these talking points. Okay. Good. Okay. So talking point text. This is talking point, negative talking point 1. So I'm gonna do this manually to avoid any potential issues, errors. Okay, I'm gonna go props.negative 0.1. This is number 2. I'm just gonna change this. Let's put in brackets, change that to a 2, skip the positive, go into this one, change that to a 3, and go into this one and change that to a 4. Okay, we want these to be negative 0.4, negative 0.3, negative 0.2, negative 0.1. Save. Exit. So now we have the ability to put in negative points. We have the ability to put in positive points. We style our positive row a certain way. We can order our positive row. What we need now is the icons. Icons, icons, icons. Okay. So I am going to go in and find my positive talking point row. Now you can really do this on any of them. So I need to add a before pseudo element with content of blank. I just need to get a box on the screen, okay? Display, it's faster for me to type right now, so I'm just gonna type display flex and background of red for right now, because I really don't care. We need inline size of 1em, block size of 1em. We need this to be display flex direction row. We need a gap on there. Not of content gap though. Let's just do a 0.25em or something. 0.35em, 0.45em, 0.5em. Why don't we just do 0.5em? How about that? Let's align everything to the center. Man, man, oh man, oh man. All right, so you pretend that's an icon. No, I'm just joking. We actually have to make it an icon, Kevin. Can't just pretend. Can't just pretend. Okay. So we're going to put a, what are we going to put? What are we going to put? We're going to put a background image in there. We're going to need to go to huge icons. We're going to need, because I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any in here. I can go to the media library. I have some, but not the ones I need. So let's go to, I think they're called ticks. I call them checks, but the icon world calls them ticks. I don't know why. Let's go with this one. That's nice and clean. Okay, so we're gonna download it. So we're gonna go tick icon, bang. All right, and then I need they're not called X's, they're called crosses, okay? You need a cross icon. Which one looks like it's from the same family? Like this one. Download that. Cross icon. So I have my two icons, okay? I'm gonna throw those bad boys in. Throw in the tick, let's throw in the cross. Okay, use this media. Copy the image URL. Go paste that in. There it is. Background, size, cover. Background position is already, should be fine. Background, repeat, no, repeat. Okay, it's gonna be some magic now. You take this word background and you hit Command D, because you need all three of these backgrounds. And if you know anything about masking, you know that the background syntax system and the mask syntax system are exactly the same. And when you change the word background to mask, you magically get an icon, an SVG being loaded as an image that you have control over the color of by this background property. See, I can make it pink, blue, I can make it whatever I want, like inherit, or current color, okay? And if I have this, I can say color is success ultra dark. We can even see success dark. I like success dark better. And the color is gonna be inherited. But look at this, I can say color of this is neutral dark on the non-positive ones. And when I change the icon, okay, let's see how I want to do this. Okay. Here's how we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna go up all the way to the parent. Should I do this at the parent? Or should I do this at the Talking Points wrapper level? Where should I do this? I'm gonna do this at the row. I'm gonna do this at the row level. So we're gonna say positive icon, and I'm gonna steal this whole URL. Boom. And then I'm gonna say negative icon. And I'm gonna pop that URL in, but I'm gonna go get the negative one. Okay? Just stick with me. Stick with me. Watch the magic unfold, okay? Here's my negative icon, pop that in. Oh dear, holy smokes, what just happened? Let's go back here. I don't think it did not copy what I thought it was gonna copy. Okay, let's go here. I just want the relative path. Can I just right click copy? Does that work? Okay, let's get that, put that, okay, that finally worked. We just want a relative path to this too. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go mask image var icon. And on row type positive, we're gonna say icon is equal to positive icon. And then we're gonna say up here, because we don't have a negative, icon is equal to negative icon. Look at us go. Look at us go. Oh my Lord. Oh. You just love it when stuff comes together a little bit, you know? Do you pay for huge icons or use free? I do pay for huge icons. The relative path will break when you share it. You are absolutely right. I hate it when when you guys are right. Okay. That's a great catch. That's a great catch. Let's get more real estate so I can figure out what the heck we're doing here. Okay. Stay with me. What options do we have available to us? Can we encode the icon? Because we could use it in the content field. That would make it a physical icon. I don't know that I like that. Well, maybe I do like that. Maybe I do like that. Ooh. Grok. What format does an SVG need to be in to be used in the content field of a pseudo element? I don't know. We're going to go down this little rabbit hole. I'm not completely 100% sure if it's going to work. But I will, let's go back to huge icons. Where's our cross? Let's copy this to the clipboard, okay? Okay, convert this icon. You know what, Grok? I don't need all that BS. Why don't you just do what I asked you to do and not do all the extra nonsense? How about that? For once in your life, Grok. For once in your life. Negative icon. Okay, hold on. Wait, is this just gonna work like this without changing anything else? Is that gonna work in the mask? That would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. Let's get the positive icon. Go back to tick. This may just work. Who knows? Who knows anymore? I certainly don't. We need this one. Copy. We're getting a little loopy now. Okay, this is what happens. Convert this one. Convert this one. Don't give me any shit, Grok. I just want the raw goods, okay? Okay, it knows. You just gotta give it a little attitude. Little attitude. It understands, okay? Let's go back. Paste. I mean. Looks to me like it works. Now that those are data encoded, they're free to share. No, we can't use the full path because then you're using my servers to serve your damn icons. Get your hands out of my servers, you know what I'm saying? This should work just fine, I think. If that does what I think it does, right? Anybody confirm? Anybody smart enough to confirm? Because now there's no server URLs in here. It should all just work, I think. I think you guys are way behind or something. Some of you are behind. I mean, I feel like it works. I feel like it works. Are we good? Are we good? I feel like we're good. Okay. What we need to do, did we already make this? I feel like that's a little too, well, one, I feel like we need grid gap maybe like ×2. Let's see what that does for us. There we go. Get a little more breathing room. And then I'm thinking like right here, this feature list. And I'm going to actually change this to container. And I'm going to add a has me. So now that's a container that's based on container queries. And I'm going to say, well, actually, I don't need to do that. I guess I do. I guess I do. We need to do this on the card as well. So on the card, feature card, yeah. Well, actually, no, nothing needs to happen on the card because I don't need to change anything on the card. Okay. So repeat 3 when the width is greater than 11, let's say 1150. Okay. And then, oh, that breaks quite early, doesn't it? It breaks quite early. Because we're going to have to go, it's like, when do you go to 2? I don't want to go to 2 because then I'm going to have an orphan. Oh, I see an issue here too. We're going to need a media query 700. What needs to happen? That needs to go to justify content start. Align items. Start. With less than or equal to 700. Am I not? Oh, I wasn't at 700 yet. So it's not 700. It's like 7. This is why you need tokenized media queries. 795. There we go. Okay. I would say right there. This is like, okay, I see a problem here. The good thing is I can change it while I'm here. I don't have to worry about going to any breakpoint to change it. Like, that's what's phenomenal about this. And watch this, watch this. You want to see something? You want to see something? Something? Well, I don't know if we want this to happen. But if I right clicked and said max content, it would do that. But I mean, maybe we do want that. Maybe we don't want it to go all the way across, you know? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Do you want it to go all the way or do you not want it to go all the way? I'm reading the chat now. I'm going to do Q&A in just a second. We don't have to do the content. That's what I'm saying. We don't have to use the content property. Like it works with the mask. So the mask is still a good way to do it because then you get, well, I guess with the, it would work the same either way. I don't think it's a here nor there. Okay, so let's go to positive icon, display flex, icon size, 1M. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, I don't think we need any other control points necessarily. Someone said all the way. All right, I mean, but look. Okay. Let's get out of here and let's go back to our grid. And let's grab this and say, well, yeah, that's a duplicate. So this can be, I don't know, above what? Above like here. Let's say 580. 580. We'll do 2. Oh, it's this display grid needs to be nudged. See, I mean, I just don't know with this particular design that we're going to be able to do anything about that. And that for sure needs to go to 3 probably sooner. 1100, it goes to 3. Oh, I got to keep remembering this is a container query, so it's not based on this number up here. It's based on this number right here. Are we also, what happens if we have different height content? Talking point text? No, that's not that. Hold on. Oh, I need quick fix. I got to go lead text. So this will be description. Well, let's do heading. And let's do description. And let's grab that and go there. Let's grab that and go there. Let's save, exit. Let's change the text on 1. Okay. So I see a problem where we're going to have to make sure that these cards flex 1 to stretch and that the content wrapper has margin block start of auto. Or maybe better to go justify content space between. And then what that should do is fix. Oh, you know what? The list item, feature list, list item, flex 1. That worked. The card, yeah. Display, this needs to be display flex too. List items, you can't use flex on them because they're not display flex by default. Okay, so that'll handle that. All the cards stay the same size and you simply get a gap between here and there. I wonder if that's a good way to handle these. I mean, you're never gonna have one that's that short. Like normally, you know, it'll look like that, right? What if we have one that is only 2 lines of text? How will it look? About like that. That's still fine, I think. I think that's, I don't know. I guess since they don't have a background color, none of that actually matters. If they had a background color, that would be more important to do. Let's take the flex 1 off of that. And let's take the justify content off. I think that's fine because they don't have background colors. So I think it's fine. Okay, are we done here? Is there anything else you want me to do? We definitely need to change the, oh, that doesn't look good at all, does it? Okay, so that's 580, 60, 666. Wow, I didn't mean to say that. 680. Go to 2 column. That does not look good to me. That does not look good, guys. This does not look good. I think you got to go talking points row. I think we got to do max content here. And then that, let's see. I think you have to. You can't go all the way across. It's just not getting it. It's the one thing that really breaks what we got going on. You know, it's cramping the vibe. I think we're much better here. I think we're much better there. Okay, let's save that. Let's just rock and roll with that. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could. Okay. Look, I'll entertain it. Okay, I'll entertain it. There's a long stream, guys. 12-1. You guys are working me to death. You're working me to death right now. Feature card Yankee. Add has me. Add container query. Less than. Wait a minute. Hold on. Greater than. Because this would allow us to just get rid of the 2-column nonsense. Like, okay. All right, bear with me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the list, and we're going to take out this jump to 2 columns. Okay? So it never jumps to 2. And it gives us these really wide cards up until we want it to be 3, which needs a display grid property. So there's our 3. There's our 2, which is clearly too wide, but that's fixable with our little new container query situation. Okay? So I'm going to go to feature card Yankee, and at the inline size of, I would say right there-ish, yeah, 700. Oh, this is fine. This is going to create some fine tuning. Let's say 670. 670. We can display this as a grid of 2 columns and align everything to the center. Not 2 columns. I don't think we want 2 columns. We want, I think, guys, you can do max content, I think. Min, max, 0, 1FR. Oh, no. We don't want to do that. Well, we want to card gap this. Sorry, I'm just thinking through some things. What is our structure here? So we have a talking points wrapper that's out to there. And we have a content wrapper that has no width on it. Okay, none of that is set. So that should be good. Okay. Min max 0, 1FR, 2FR. How about that? And is that not, was it not called talking point row? Points row. What are you doing to me? Okay, card gap times 2. Three. How are we liking this? Very interesting. Kind of like it. I don't like that though. I don't think we should put this on here. I think it's got to stay like this. problem now, oh, look at that. Talking points text. Oh, we could force it. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be a good situation. So this line height value needs to be like, just, I don't know. I don't know. Some of these situations are, because remember, we're not, and these are things you would not catch. Let me reiterate this. This little situation is something you may not catch if all you're doing is going through preset breakpoints. Because it doesn't happen there. It doesn't happen here. I only found it with an infinite canvas where it happens only in that little area on that one device rendering. Would it ever happen? And so now I'm wondering, I don't even know if it's, I mean, you just kind of gotta let it break, don't you? Doesn't really happen anywhere else. Maybe I can give it a little more breathing room. Sorry, to 1.5. Because it has no background. It just makes the gaps look big, but I don't know that it actually matters. But look, we solved the problem. .5 FR. Can I min max? Min max. I was thinking about a way to do some fancy stuff with the min max. I don't know. Is anybody still here? All right, I think this is done. All right, let's go to the front and look. By the way, these allow you to set the rating. So 3.2 on Yelp, you know, whatever you want to put in here. And I'm just noticing this rating badge alpha. This should actually probably be some sort of transparency. So it kind of works everywhere. There we go. I mean, you got to do some stuff for accessibility purposes there, but okay. Are we good? What do we think about this? Should I do some Q&As? I mean, look at our situation here. You know, that I don't like so much. You know, I didn't think, what if we, that wouldn't be good either. I bet when this has actual info in it, it would be better. Like this is a negative talking point, a little longer. See, it'll start to provide more semblance. Yeah, I think it's inevitable that some of these are gonna wrap. I mean, we could clip the character count, you know, but that kind of defeats the purpose. That's why I said it's a challenging little pattern. Challenging little pattern. But people, you know, it's here. People are free to tweak it however they want to tweak it. It's not a gap. That's the problem. This is not a gap. This is the FR of that box and the FR of this box. There's only a gap in the grid. Okay. It's interesting. It's very interesting things. Let's do Q&A real quick. I'm going to go #Q. When building components, should we avoid too many props? For example, a background for a section, should it go into that component props or should be a global value? Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, you could allow utility classes to be put on something. You could allow, you could have preset themes that you put on things. So you choose a theme when you're using the component. There's a lot of ways to do it. It's kind of up to you. Briefly explain the difference between components and patterns. Okay? It's pretty easy to do. This whole thing is a pattern. This is a component. This is a component. This is another instance of that component. This card is a component. So are these duplications of it. This is just part of the pattern, a grid that's part of the pattern. A pattern is a collection of things. It can have components in it. It can have no components. If we go to layouts and we go look at the one we built earlier, our hero Quebec. So this is hero Quebec. This is a pattern. It's a collection of things. No components in this. There's no components in this one. But we look at something like we just built, which I don't think I published it yet. Here's another. This is a pattern. This card is a basic feature card component. These are just instances of it. Okay. So patterns are collections of things. Components are more granular things. You could make an entire pattern into a component, but I wouldn't recommend it. Creates a lot of complication. There's really usually no need for that. And then of course there's templates. And a template is an entire page level layout that could contain patterns and components, right? Think of like a blog post template. It's going to have a hero pattern. It could have a main body pattern. It could have an avatar component in it. It could have a lot of things. A comments component. So that's kind of the explanation. What are you naming your blog post CPT? Demo set up to permaslog/blog. I usually name it articles. I would really appreciate seeing how to properly set up headers and footers in the modern Etch. That's the main thing stopping me from switching. Could you please quickly talk through that? Well, I mean, you can go to headers. You can go to header alpha right here. You can copy this code and you can go paste it in. So we would go into templates alpha, go into your index template, and there's your header. Just like that, you got a header. And then you can look at how it's created. You could say, oh, look, it's a component. Oh, it's got this thing in it called a slot. Oh, it's got another component called a nav and a burger, because it's automatically a whole mobile situation, right? Let's go look at the front. So we got that drop down. We got this. I probably should not have put that in the index template on this actual site. So I'll just remove that really quick because we don't want it to actually show up on the site. But here's the working version of it. The copy code button kind of gets in the way in some of these. If you're savvy, you could probably cheat and go display of none. And then you just interact. Here's your mobile menu. I mean, come on, this is all for you out of the box. Look how easy this is. But you can also just look at how it's constructed, you know, and you can see, here's how they built it. Okay, I see what's going on. And then you go over to footers. So we go here, we go to footer, grab this little footer alpha right here, copy, go paste it into your install in your index template, and take a look at how it was built and constructed. and then go, ah, okay, that's how you do footers. Okay, I see. And there you go. How did you first learn CSS? A long, back in 2000 and, no, maybe even 1990, 99, 90, in 2000, but very, very minimal, And then I got into WordPress I did the Dreamweaver route for a while. I did the front page. I was a big front page user for a while. Old Microsoft, you know? And then I went into WordPress, into classic themes. I did a little stint with I have Generate stuck in my head, but it's not Generate. You know what I'm talking about. Thesis for like a couple weeks, and then I ditched Thesis, went Thesis route for a little while. Then I got into some short code based system. What a travesty that was. Like I've literally tried them all. I've tried them all. Like that's why I'm so like I just know what needs to happen, because I've literally seen every evolution of all this shit since the very, very early days. Yeah. CSS very heavy though. Like more recently, like, you know, 2000. I don't even know. I'm horrible with dates. I don't know, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, maybe 12, 13, 2012, 13 in there, starting to get like heavier into CSS, but then very, very, very heavy, more like 19, 20, somewhere around there probably. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Now, if you're trying to think about your own timeline, like if I said, how long would it take you to get proficient at CSS? If you don't use a tool that abstracts it away and hides it from you, you actually watch it being written like with a mini GUI, and you interact with it and you write some of it on your own, and you're not afraid of it. See, most people, they never learn it because they're afraid of looking at it. And they go to tools that hide it from them. And then they think they're magically going to learn something. They don't. So they'll spend 5 years and learn nothing. If you're diligent about it and not afraid of it, I mean, 3 months, you're going to be like, on most things you need to do, you're going to be fairly proficient. And then, you know, I would say 12 months, you're going to start feeling like, damn, I'm kind of like pro territory, you know? Like I don't even need a quick actions thing. Like I of course will always use the quick actions because it makes the workflow so much faster, right? Even in its early stages, like we haven't even seen what it's capable of yet. But yeah, it's not a long runway. If you're not afraid of seeing it, then it's not a long runway at all. Don't be like, oh my God, it's going to take forever. It's not going to take forever. Can we have a function on import of a pattern to modify or give patterns a name which changes the class names of that pattern? Not really. Everybody likes that about Brixies. In order to make that work in Brixies, one, they have to abandon actual BEM principles that doesn't follow actual BEM principles. They have not accounted at all for what happens when there's components involved. It's not a situation where it can be automated, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of code duplication in Brixies. Because what I watch people do is they take a hero section where the image is on the right and they duplicate the entire thing and use new class names just to make a left variant. Holy smokes. This is not what you should be doing with your life. Okay. It just causes like tremendous amount of problems in code duplication, and it's not great. Okay, let's keep going. I could say more, but some things you gotta trust me. Like it's not the life we need to be living. If I'm remembering correctly, you used to use grid pane and then you switched to Rocket. Do you find it better for your workflow? The switch is very simple. If you are an agency, I still heavily recommend grid pane. We made the switch when we got rid of all of our agency clients. We switched 100% to software and said, you know, we don't need this level of like control and customization, all these deployments and all that. We just Rocket like will do what we need for our software marketing sites. But if you're like heavy into agency, freelance and hosting and maintenance and all this stuff for customers, and I would still go the grid pane route. It just, you know, it's you do for what you need. We're a software company now. We don't really need that level of control and the scale and the scope. Is it possible to only show a prop based on if it has content, but with placeholder text? This would remove extra toggles inside the components. Yeah, we will be adding that. It's a need I've run into myself, and we will be adding that. I think one workaround that I haven't tried, let's try it. I'm gonna go to local to try this because I don't want to be on the patterns site. Let's try something. Oh, by the way, oh, you already saw. Let me refresh that before we go. Check this out. I mean, check what I was able to do here. I was just playing around with the mini GUI, right? Oh, let me show you something. Oh, this is good. This transition stuff, let's get that out of there. Okay. Position absolute inset block in. Let's get all that out of there. Okay, so here's the thing that we want to position in this box. I already positioned this box relative right there, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here. I wanna position this absolute. So I'm gonna right click, get position absolute. Okay, then I get my inset controls. The minute I do a position, I get my inset controls. So I wanna go to the bottom right corner. So I'm gonna go to the bottom right corner. But then I wanna do a hover on this, okay? I wanna do a hover and watch what happens when I add hover styles. I want you to look right here, okay? So I'm gonna go to the end here. Here's the end, I'm gonna zoom in. You've got translate, scale, rotate, nothing after that. And notice you can go left or right in the mini GUI. Nothing comes after that. But watch what happens when I add a hover. And inside that hover, I'm gonna translate this and scale it, okay? And rotate it. I'm actually not gonna scale it. Let's get rid of that. I'm gonna translate it 1 - 1 and rotate it 2 degrees, okay? So that's what happens when I hover now. Now I need to transition that. I'm gonna go back to the main block, and because a hover or a focus visible or a focus or anything that would apply to transitions exists in this style block, look what I now have. I have a transition icon, but it only exists because there's something that's actually transitionable. When I don't have a hover, there's nothing that's transitionable. It wouldn't make sense to add a transition. But if I add a hover, I come over here and suddenly it's a transition. But look, in the hover block, it's not there. Why? Because you shouldn't be adding transitions in the hover state. You need to add them in the main state, in the non-hovered state. That's where the icon becomes available. This is what I meant by context-aware, a context-aware UI, right? That understands, hey, here's when I should show something and here's when I shouldn't show something. Now I add the transition and immediately it works because by default it's transitioning all. But if I want to be specific and say, no, only do translate and rotate, I can also do that. And now it's more efficient, but I still get the desired effect. And look, I did all that with the mini GUI. I did the translate with the mini GUI, the rotate with the mini GUI, the transition with the mini GUI. I mean, and I positioned it in the box with the mini GUI, right? I just feel like this is, it's really, really coming together, and it's still in its infancy, guys. It's still in its infancy. Okay. Let's go back to Command Q. All right. I mean, how fast did I do that little translate, rotate, transition? Pretty quick. Is it possible to show? Okay, we did that. Can you explain when we need the card frame? Okay, well, that needs its whole video. Does the card framework affect shareability? If you auto target the cards, Okay, so what the card framework allows you to do, you come into cards and you go to card options and it says card selectors. Here's where you target your card selectors to automatically apply the framework, okay? Very helpful, very fast, very efficient, insane levels of control, awesome stuff, okay? But if you do that for your cards that you want to share, they will break, right? You have to manually use the card framework if you want it to be shareable, and you need to put fallbacks in. Let's see. Data alignment doesn't indicate what is happening. Isn't something like testimonial position, which we can select left or right better? I don't think so. I think it makes sense. If you look at it and you go left, right, and then you toggle it and you watch what it does, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. It's not that complicated. Would you make a side-by-side media content block a component or a reusable pattern? The pattern should remain very flexible on desktop. See part 2. Change media aspect ratio. Images and media box. Use content grid. Custom content and media or content box. All the variation. It sounds like a component. Sounds like a component. How would you limit the card BG options to existing color variables? Okay, so we'll do all this on local, so we're not breaking anything. Let me get rid of this. Let's do section, okay. All right, my container component, okay? And then I'm gonna do, oh, look what I did here. Because there's challenges. Like, look what happens when you do this. You get a min block size and a max block size together. Ooh, that's weird. Why do we do that? I did not want to go an icon for block size, min block size, max block size, like, okay, come on. Like, that's where these UIs get out of control. This solves all problems, all situations. Okay, there's something you need to know about block size, which is height. Okay, this is just height. You almost never use a fixed height. Almost never use a fixed height. If you find you're using fixed height a lot, you're fucking something up, okay? Don't do that. You almost always use min height, min block size. That is almost always the thing you want, and very rarely do you use max block size. So by giving you both in one click, okay, you get a min block size. That's the thing you actually want to use. Watch, I'm going to show you. So we go 50, 60, 70, 80, right? This is what you really want. But if the content needs to grow, it will grow. See that? Let me put a background color on here real quick. Background color, red. There you go. Okay. So watch what happens if I had used height, like fixed height, like just block size. Overflow. Uh-oh. Womp womp. Okay. Womp womp. I don't even know.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Okay. This is why you don't want to use block size. You really want min block size. Okay. So let me take that away and let me go back to our height. Boom. Okay. So we have min block size 20 VH, but content will make it grow if it needs to grow. So let's get these back out of here. Great. Fantastic. Okay. We can make this 60, 70, 80, whatever. You have other options here. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Got it. Okay. And then max block size of none, guess what? That's the default value of max block size. So if you wanted to cap it at 90, okay, say like, hey, I want it to be 70, but never more than 90. You can just put it at 90. Now it will overflow, okay? If you got to be careful. Like you can create overflows, right? It's overflowing right there. You got to be very careful with that. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. That's why it's set to none by default, okay? Because none, it's gonna act like it doesn't even exist. Now, what if you did need a pure fixed size in some rare instance? I mean, you could still do this. That's a fixed size. It's gonna be min and max of 70, that's 70. It's gonna be 70, that's what it's gonna be, okay? And you could put like, 700 pixels, you can put whatever values in here that you want, okay? Or you could just write in block size if you really, 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 really need that very rare thing. You can just write it in, okay? But the quick action is gonna give you the safe 99% use case play. That's what it's gonna give you. And if you wanna override that, you can. You have control of the values. But these are things we're having to think deeply about, because let's just be honest, every UI on the face of the earth gives you the wrong value and encourages the wrong thing. So we're encouraging the right practice with an intelligent workflow intelligent default values. Okay. I'm going a little long because we're getting down to the final streams of the year. You know what I'm saying? So we're packing as much in. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right, this will be the end of it. I did all of that and almost forgot what we were trying to accomplish. Okay. Oh, padding. Okay, give me some padding. All right, so he's saying, hey, what if this is a component? Okay, let's get a better color. Rebecca purple. Okay, and then color of white. All right. White. Why isn't it white? There we go. Okay, perfect. So he's saying, all right, this is my container component. We want to make a prop. Prop is going to be text. Default value is default text. Target that text element. Let's go back. All right. Insert heading here. Is that really what that wasn't what I made the default? Is it? Okay, save. And what he's saying is, hey, if there's no text here, like there's no text, it's just falling back to the default. If there was text, it would look like that, right? But what if there's no text? I want to make it disappear. Now, the problem with this is they're not going to see it, right? Like that's another problem you have. Is they're not going to see anything in the box because by default, there is really no value. But what I was going to show you as a potential workaround, we right click, wrap in condition, okay? And we say props.text is not equal to, and then we're going to say string of my heading. So you literally would use a condition based on the value of the fallback. Do I have a heading? Yes. Heading is empty. You get nothing. So is that what you were wondering? Does that do it? But you see the problem, right? That when you use the component, if it doesn't actually have a value, you're not going to see anything. Okay, so that's a problem with it. Or hold on. Let's think about this. I mean, maybe there's a way to work this. Okay, show this. If it's not equal to my heading, wait, we should say equals. Show this if it, no, see, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't know that there's a good way to do it, right? We could think more about the logic. I mean, we're half a step there. We're half a step closer. You can use CSS, you can use the empty pseudo class. The problem is it's still in the DOM. You're going to end up with a blank element in the DOM. It's not the end of the world, but it's not good. It's not good practice. Okay. Are there plans for division name between prop name and prop key? Hey, Anja, do I have the feature for you? Maybe they don't know this. Maybe people just don't know this. Let's take the heading out of that condition. Here's my prop name, my name, my separate key. Look at that, Anja. We already got it for you. Look at that. Amazing. So yeah, you can double click and edit the key just like you can edit the name. They do not have to be the same. Okay. When will media container queries be tokenized? Will this be available in the final V1? It's halfway there. I don't know when exactly. It's not a top priority. It's like there's other things that are definitely more important than that. But as soon as those things get crossed off the list, like it's up there. It's up there. I want it really, really, really bad. Nobody else has it. It's going to be another one of those things where it's like, wow, you could do a critical thing in Etch that you can't do in any other interface, in any other builder environment. Will there be native Etch carousels? Yes. I'm just doing quick ones now. Do you prefer writing shorthand or longhand while writing CSS? I noticed that almost all mini GUI options produce longhand CSS. They don't. Like transition uses all the short properties. I showed how we're gonna have granular ones in the future. We have to add a little logic to the UI. Maybe some more Figma goodies. Maybe the component selection modal you talked about. Ah, man. Where would we even find that? It's been so long. I also don't know if Tommy made it or if Jeremy made it. And this is also the new file. I don't know if, well, there's the AI assistant. Should we look in there? Should we take a peek? I don't know if we should. This is the new file, not the old file, and it may be in the old file. Let me see what's in Jeremy's sandbox. See, you guys that hang around, you get the goods. Component editor, media hub. Oh, there's a media hub. Mike. We'll look at the media hub. I mean, none of this stuff is like official yet. It's all, it's ideation. Okay, we should put that stipulation on it. And some of it's in various states of completion, like, 80% ideated, 30% ideated, Here's a styles manager. I think, let's go to Tommy and see what are our categories here. So we have the content hub, container queries, templates, settings panel, importing CSS. Oh, importing CSS. What is that? Is Etch going to have the ability to crawl a URL and find the selectors you copied and only grab the CSS from the style sheets for those selectors and attach them to the elements automatically? And oh, geez, that might be a thing. That might be a thing that already has a proof of concept in existence. Components, UI, UX, that's for components 2.0. We could look at that. Or we could look at none of these things. Elements panel, UI, UX, loop, UI, UX, new style manager. I think I've shown that before. It's pretty nice little style. You got the mini GUI in here. You got the code on the left. You got a preview on the right. You've got a selector for what you're actually previewing when you write in here. Okay. Let's go out. I don't know what those are. Let's see if it's in Jeremy's. Styles, loops, component editor, media hub, structure panel, content hub, color palette stuff, CSS select, templates manager. That it? No. Settings. Sidebar. No. I don't think that's it. I don't know where that lives anymore. It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't know if Jeremy's watching. He could tell me where it would be located. Loops, dynamic parameters, loop panel, component editor, selecting a loop, media hub. Let's take a little wander into an exploration of a media hub. The ability to categorize your media, create collections for your media. sort your media. All of this would be loopable data, by the way. So when we put a media into a collection, it would be a loopable collection. Here's some thumbnails, like a list view of your media. Oh, look at this. We've got the ability to put data in. This is not fully ideated, but it's going to be better than what anything native WordPress gives you, for sure. Content Hub, a lot going on in there. I can't find the, I'm gonna have to ask where it went. Have you guys seen the node view for template management? Have you guys seen that yet? It's pretty sexy. It's an overview of all your templates and they're editable right in place in the node view. It's gonna be pretty dope. That's a V2 of our template manager. Here's a super chat from Jzaz. Can you elaborate on your rant about Brick stealing from their add-on developer? Shouldn't you expect this as an add-on developer? Oh boy. So we'll give the context. The context is Bricks, and this is just facts, okay? This is facts. They have not innovated on anything in years. I don't know what their last innovation was. I have to go through all their feature lists, and they're essentially in a mode, and they have been for a while, of just literally copying features. And now there is a copy a feature, okay? Let's talk functionality versus UI UX. You have to understand that something like the Mini GUI, okay, is a functionality set that is brand new, and it is a UI UX pattern that is brand new. So the people who develop that have to do all of the heavy lifting, all of the work, all of the expense to figure out every inch of it. What works, what doesn't work, what logic is needed, what logic is not needed, all these patterns. Do user testing, do your own testing, get feedback, get iteration ideas from the community, bake those in, architect it, all of that, everything from scratch. Now, if a builder or a developer or whatever looks at that and goes, ooh, that's fucking fascinating. That is really, really well done. But I think there are a bunch of ways to make this even better. So what I'm gonna do, I think there's a big UI tweak I can make. I think there's a big UX tweak I can make. I think whatever they think. But in there, they got their brain turning, and now they're starting to put original ideas together on that concept. And then they come out with a similar functionality, but has clearly different UI patterns and UX patterns. It has other functionalities that they have contributed, okay? If that is a scenario that is always gonna happen. You will watch, okay? What you have to understand about the Mini GUI, and I'm just using that as an example, and I'm gonna use styling panels as another example. The Mini GUI makes styling panels obsolete. So what all builders are about to face, the reality that they're about to face, is that styling panels are 60% of the architecture of a builder. Like they do, in terms of a user's main workflow objective, styling panels is like 60% of what users interact with in a builder. Maybe even more, I don't know. I'm guesstimating a number, okay? They're facing the reality where 60% of their thing, their interface, their builder, their workflow is obsolete now. Like somebody else has come along and shown a dramatically better way to do this. That's a problem. They're absolutely going to do something about that. They're going to I think they're gonna have to, okay? Now, are they going to go the route that I just described, or are they gonna go the route of what Bricks has been doing lately, which is literally rip off the entire UI, the entire UX, all of the functionality, not really contribute anything additional, and just change some colors and some spacing? I do have a problem with that. I do have a problem with that. You also see, so what they did that with Core Framework, and this is not even my product. Okay, I don't promote Core. I like they come on, Thomas comes on, and he's like, gotta thank everybody. Gave Thomas all this shit about copying, like almost 1-to-1 the Core UI for the Styles Manager. And he's like, okay, I'll give him some credit. He comes on, he's like, I'd like to thank Core Framework for all their innovation in frameworking and tokenization and other. What the fuck are you even talking about? ACSS did all that, homie. You want to thank somebody, okay? You could go, like, this is literally, okay? You could do a little homework. Let's go to Manifesto. Read this list. None of this shit existed in frameworks. None of it. Not a single one of it before automatic CSS. Much less the UI to customize your framework. Automatic CSS was the first system to produce a UI for interacting with a framework. Much less in real time. Okay? And what does Thomas do? I'd like to thank Core Framework for what? They didn't have fluid responsive typography. They didn't have a fully tokenized system. They didn't have automatic CSS had that first. Okay, so he thanks the wrong person after he hijacks their UI, 1-to-1. So I'm defending Core by saying they came up with that UI. They came up with that UX pattern. Thomas did just hijack it, literally just stole it. Didn't put any extra thought into it, no extra functionality, just stole it. He's stolen numerous things now from Maxime, an advanced themer. And again, you've got to understand the difference. If you're going to take an idea as inspiration and be like, I think I can do that way better, that's a completely different scenario. Hey, I think this can be dramatically improved. Not just let me lift that from somebody else and stick it in here so I just take all the stuff they did and now my product is instantly more valuable like that, and I don't really have to do any work or any thinking or anything else. I do have a problem with that. I think everybody should have a problem with that. Because also what it means is, and now let's use the style panel example. We could have, and this is why I gave Oxygen and SoFly so much shit. You guys gotta understand this. Like really the fundamentals. Oxygen 6 is Breakdance's architecture and literally Webflow's UI just stolen and put on top of it. It is almost a 1-to-1 of all the shit that actually matters. The entire pattern, 1-to-1, it is a Webflow copy, a clone, on top of a cloned architecture, and they're feeding that shit to you as the 6.0 next era builder. The fuck? You copied a 2013 builder workflow and put it on top of your existing architecture from another builder that competes with this builder, and now you're shipping that out as the new thing that people are supposed to buy from you. What a slap in the face. What a slap in the face. You know why it's a slap in the face? Because when you steal UIs and UX patterns and you just 1-to-1 copy functionality, you are foregoing the ability to innovate. Where innovation needs to happen and could very well happen, you go, nah, I'm too lazy for that. I'm just gonna copy paste. That's a slap in the face to your user base. A user base deserves more from the people that they are buying products from. I don't want your clone shit. I want your ideas. Where are your original ideas? Where is your innovation? Where are you pushing us all forwards? Automatic CSS, first to have a UI. Then I said, you know what? we need to scrap that, re-architect the whole thing, because this UI needs to live on the front end and in the builder. And it needs to show people their changes in real time. Nobody else had even done that before we did it. I spent $70,000 or whatever it was to re-architect automatic CSS, not because a competitor came in and did something that I needed to catch up to, just because I didn't like the other one. And I was like, this just can work better. This just needs to be better. And meanwhile, you've got tools who are falling behind who, like, they're not even innovating unless they're forced to innovate. And then when they're forced to innovate, they go, instead of innovating, we'll just steal. What? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't care how you think morally about that. What I do care is if you're a customer, that is a slap in the face. You are buying into a product who has given up on innovation and is not using any opportunities to truly innovate and is just giving you copy-paste shit. I don't want to be involved in a product that does that. So, yeah, I mean, it's bad for Maxime. It's bad for the third-party ecosystem. It's bad in a lot of ways. And again, you cannot lose sight of the one caveat that I made, which is if you're going to take something as inspiration and you're going to change it up because your changes create better patterns and you're going to add new ideas and layers on top of what was done previously as a real innovation, that is a completely different story. But if you're just going to directly lift, I mean, I don't know what you're doing here. Why? I didn't come in here. I did not come in. We had the opportunity. In fact, every people were begging us to copy the style panels patterns from every other builder. And I had to be like, no, we're not going to copy that. I think there's a better way. I had to fight our own customer base to be like, I think there's a better way, guys. I think we could do this a better way. And we're going to actually abandon that long-standing pattern. They were begging for a copycat. And even in the face of begging for a copycat, I'm like, no, I don't think we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. We should innovate a better way to do this. That style, that pattern's been around since 2010. I think it was a pattern designed for a different era. I think that we got to rethink this situation now. We got to be the ones to innovate it. That's the difference. We're built different, as the kids say, okay? I think we're just built different. And people need to start to understand that and start to respect it and stop coming in here with super chats giving me shit. Somebody literally tried to tell me in my comments on Facebook the other day, you got half your ideas from bricks. You're copying bricks. What are you talking about? The interface, this looks nothing like bricks. This is a completely different experience. If you can't see that, I don't know. You definitely have an IQ problem. It's wild. It's wild. So yeah, that's my rant. That's my rant on that. Not to mention, by the way, the reason Etch looks so cohesive is because the things that we design and architect are done for the app, for the vision, for the experience. When you start taking things and just copying them into an existing system, it starts to look very patchwork. It starts to look like, ooh, okay, that's kind of some different things going on there than over here. And I mean, I can pull up the interface and go, but it's the land of 1,000 switches. There's icons on everything. It's littered. It's just absolutely littered with clutter and chaos and inception and panels after panels and modals and panels and accordions and panels and more modals. And it's like, I can't even interact with the class system anymore. I did it on a live stream the other day. I couldn't even figure. I was like, how do you even deselect the hover state? I don't even know. It's so convoluted now. And the component situation, don't even get me started on the component situation. It's all just being tacked on, bolted on. They're just racing. We're falling behind. Got to just ship it out. And it needs way more thought. It needs way more vision. It needs way more innovation. I'm telling you, the amount of conversations that we have on the mini GUI So we just had another one today on like, oh my God, like, look at this challenge and this challenge and this challenge. We're going to have to solve these. And we're in a situation where, guess what? There's no roadmap. No, there's no blueprint. You look around and you go, there's nobody else here. Nobody else has solved this. Nobody else has even tried to tackle this. Nobody else is. Where was everybody on block authoring? Where was our copy paste on the block authoring architecture that we, by the way, architected 3 separate times to figure it out? Nobody around. Nobody. And so you have to realize when somebody comes in and does all the work, all the money spent, all the effort and time and sweat, everything that goes into it, and then someone else just comes along and goes, oh, thanks, plug and play, right? Without any care to go, hey, I love that. I think we're going to make it, we're going to do something similar, but we got a lot of original ideas on how to make this even better. Because if they do that, that's competition. That's competition. Steal, plug, that's not competition. We're not competing now. No, you are playing defense. You're way behind. The only people who do that are people who are way behind and who are playing defense, okay? We're playing offense. We're way ahead. And I've told people this with automatic CSS because they thought like, I don't know what people think about this stuff, but I explained it. They were like, aren't you worried about people stealing your ACSS concepts? I was like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They are doing it. I was like, but it doesn't matter because all of the work that we do, like the industry we work in evolves so quickly that the innovators are always ahead and the copycats are always way behind. And there is a subsection of a user base that are not very bright and not very intelligent. They cannot assess the situations that are in front of their eyes. And they're just go, well, I just like my copycat's little builder. And And there are people that go, no, I think I see what's going on. And I think I'm going to go with the tool that's actually pushing things forward. That's why so many people buy ACSS. That's why they know that, hey, the innovation comes from here. I'm going to go to the source for my innovation, okay? The copycat thing is always going to be way behind. It's always going to be half-assed. It's always going to be disjointed. I need to go to the source. Well, Etch is the source. ACSS is the source. And we prove this time and time and time again. And yeah, you could get on here and just, oh, well, Kevin just says that. Well, it doesn't matter what I say. You can fucking look at it. That's why I do the videos all the time. Video after video after video. You just get to look at it. You get to watch it in front of your very eyes, okay? And the people that can see, and the people who are blind, stay blind, and that's okay. It's just life. It's how life works. It's an absolute marathon, Mark. It's an absolute Christmas marathon. Okay. I got to get out of here. That's enough ranting. I'm going to go get lunch. We do have an Etch live stream this week. I believe it's on Thursday or Friday. Don't know which. But yeah, there is another live stream dedicated to Etch. I would go check that out. It's all the latest, greatest stuff. You'll see hopefully some of the mini GUI stuff that I teased in the Figma today. But yeah. All right. Drop some comments, drop some likes. Love you guys. And I'll be back very, very soon. Peace.